into LGD's tower. So yeah, they lost tower and they lost hero and they lost first blood, but I think it's actually working out quite well for them.
And we're seeing what pretty much is expected as well down on the bottom lane at the moment. Seb having that favorable matchup. 21 for 0 against the 10 for 1.
He's just creep cutting and pulling it into the jungle, so he's actually farming just a bit more than that Brewmaster. I like that Jarex instantly reacted and just went top. And let's see what they can do with this. They've got a triple wave coming under here too, so Ame might struggle a bit to get these last hits if Uji plays aggressive, which they are immediately.
FY pops the shards out. Anna looking to get himself straight on top of Ame. Jarex is there with the tether onto Anna. Notel in trouble as the 3 of PSG LGD focus down the chain and take the kill. Now with the snowball, they head over to Jarex as Anna. Jarex, they're potentially in trouble. The fair fire from Jarex, healing Anna up a little bit. Jarex trying to look for the body blocks. The nuke damage from Ame, not enough to kill off the PL as Jarex with the tether gets himself out as well. But mid indeed, Somnus diving in Thompson. He's got the cold snap. The tower heading into Somnus as well, but Somnus gets the final touch, gets the kill. He has got a fairy fire and stick charges as well if needed. He doesn't even need to. The tango regen enough as Somnus gets the solo kill. Whoa! Woo! He's got his sunglasses on today.
Just too much pressure coming out up top right now. It's really hurting Thompson's lane. This Bloodseeker's almost level 5 to a level 3 Invoker.
Yeah, Thompson's just really struggling with the CS too.
Yeah.
Quelling Blade, the Blood Rage is not enough. I mean, he does like the pause Wex, but really struggling with the early phases in the game.
It's just he's sitting at like 100 damage or more on the Bloodseeker, not even including the Quelling Blade. So Thompson walks up, actually gets caught by the Blood Rage.
He does. He walks into the Blood Rage. Now Somnus is just looking to chase him down as, oh no! Thompson making a huge mistake in that middle lane. Top lane, Notel will go down. Xana, I'm going to fight back, trying to chase down FY. They get the set out Torment to blast. The Spirit Lance as well as FY will fall. OG get a trade up top. But that middle lane indeed at Thompson, it looked like he felt that he could move up the ramp out of the Blood Rite in time. But it kicks in, and Somnus in that middle lane, keeping that edge once again against the Thompson Invoker, but this time on the Bloodseeker instead of that Kunkka from earlier.
I feel like I've seen this a few times where the Invokers struggle a lot for Bloodseeker because he has very little boost. He has 0 points at Wex, and he has no boost. He's actually looking like he might be going for a kill early, so...
And that's with the Bloodseeker not even having boots yet. The Bloodseeker just has 50 movement speed over you at all times. And I don't know if Thompson can play in this lane. They're just going to go and kill him once more instantly as soon as he shows back up. And right away, he doesn't have TP.
Yeah, FY, he's in for the side. He's got a double damage rune as well. FY's they're in underneath the tower, punching down Thompson. Thompson falls once again. Jarex comes in with the tether across. They're trying to find something to respond, but Jarex, he's in trouble. He will live. They get the kill. FY, he'll go down as well. So OG able to strike back in that middle lane with the rotation, getting the double kill for Nova. But Nova walks in against the easiest kill of his life there onto Jarex. As they will find a trade Chalice as well, looking for this wraparound. He's got level 6, does have Primal Split available. CP back in from Thompson with the Primal Split ready to go. He looks towards Thompson underneath the tower. Thompson, he needs help, and he needs it now. Has he got any way of playing his way out of this one? He's only got points equals the exhaust, so no escape for Thompson. As the walk around gank from Chalice with that Primal Split successful. It's even more than successful. It's brilliant. Double kill for Chalice. As he just walks over to mid as soon as he hits 6 and gets that playoff.
What a great off-lane player that is. If you try and contest that, you're going to get destroyed. So he gets level 6 when the Invoker is level 4, and it's just grueling at this point.
They're taking the tower already too, so they're going to have access into the enemy jungle. They're going to have access into OG's jungle, where Thompson is going to have to go to the jungle to try to catch back up here. He's level 4.
Oh man, a lot of weight is going to be on Seb. He's had this bottom lane, he's got good levels, and he's got decent farm too. He's top of the net worth this game, very close to having the Blink Dagger on top of the Ring of Health. But TPs are heading down. Somnus seeing if he can find the Rupture. Seb, oh, he goes to farm. That's going to give time for Somnus to close the gap, get the Rupture. He's still pretty beefy, but is he beefy enough? I don't think so. The shards are out, trapping him in. The spin though, the taunt, the Sunstrike. Seb, he gets the dunk off. The snowball save wasn't in time, and Jarex, he's in with the tether. OG.
Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Ban. Dire team pick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are here for game 1 between Aster and Invictus Gaming. It is MLP Dota and Donix Fire. John, the draft is about to begin, sir. Aster versus IG. How are you feeling this fine evening?
I'm feeling great. It's been a solid few days of Dota 2. Hasn't been a great past few series for IG, of course. They haven't had the best results, especially in their last series up against LGD. So we're looking at them to shift things out a bit. Aster has, for the past year, for 2020 at the very least, been able to get IG's number for the most part. It feels like they've figured out what IG wants to play and how IG plays. So we'll see whether or not that carries over here, but it's really down to IG to try to shake that off this time around.
What the exact stat you had for me
5
before?
seconds
They,
remaining.
IG?
yeah, they had 2 series wins out of the past 6 series they've played against Aster. So they played 6 series against Aster, they only won 2 series, and that was months ago. Like the most recent matchups, Aster has been able to win out over IG. So it does feel like Aster has kind of figured out what IG's been up to, and IG really has to shake it up. Like if Aster knows what's coming out, bring something they don't expect.
Remaining.
I don't know. I dropped quite a bit lately, and I think they've been shaking it up a bit too much. We've been seeing some really interesting picks coming out from them. Like we saw the arc coming up from Emo. There was another really strange hero to pick up. A lot of testing going on for sure with IG at the moment. It has been panning out for them, so I'm curious to see what they do draft today. They do begin with a now at the very least, and teams that do take the Dragon Knight AA, which seems to be a very strong opening right now. This is the current meta of the Dragon Knight, very popular, and of course the AA counter to the DK also being picked up.
Yeah,
The nation.
the great thing about picking DK first is you can still throw it in the off lane. Like you have that option for Aster to have the off lane DK if IG comes in and picks something that's not favorable for the mid. So you've got a lot of flexibility with the opening from Aster. Of course, the DK is just very solid, gives you some great push timings with your level 6. Really hard to bully out of living regardless. Like it's just a very tanky hero to have. And the AA kind of plays to that nicely. You get the Dragon Tail initiation, follow up with the Ice Blast later on. It's an easy way to secure those kills. IG with their draft, Lit Phoenix is pretty stable. Like you've got great laning presence with both of these heroes. They've got some decent contributions in team fights. Phoenix probably a lot more of the focus point when the egg drops, but Chain Frost does a lot of work as well. The big issue for IG is that you don't really have flexibility with it, right? Like this is more than likely going to be your support duo, unless you're in the core Phoenix, which we really don't see too often. So there are ways for Aster to kind of draft around that. Like Lich Phoenix doesn't do anything up against slippery heroes. So something like the Void Spirit, the Ember Spirit, or even the Storm Spirit could really enjoy going up against these heroes, but you can't stop them from dipping into the backline.
No, you definitely can't. Something we don't see very often anymore, this kind of drafting style where both supports are just picked up the first phase. It's not very popular to do that. It is all about flexible pickups. Like you said, Aster should be able to capitalize on this quite nicely. It is going to be very difficult. Like you don't really have much lockdown. Because we could see something like Void coming out with the Phoenix and Lich. They're just one of those puzzles that really works well with both these heroes, and they consider that the big amount of lockdown they want. But the problem is you'd be kind of stuck on a very high cooldown ability for that lockdown. time that's off, well, that's on cooldown, you know, you just can't do anything. We'll see how they go with it, though. Aster, they do ban out the PL. They are going to their third pick now. We may see another support from them, as they have seen both supports from IG already. Or we may see another core pick up, and they may just hold on to that pause 4 pick on Aster.
10
Yeah,
seconds remaining.
mind too much. I think you have a lot to work with when you have that AA on hand. It's just you could either just still focus on individual control because the AA contributes, even an Ice Blast and 1 hero is enough to turn stuff around for you, or they could play into a stronger team fight. We've seen a lot of Disruptor. I think that goes along with the Ancient Apparition. Conversely, if you're looking at a core pickup, August Siren worked really well just because of the fact that she can kind of net people down for you. So that's a solution as well. For Aster, you don't have the best ways of dealing with that from IG. They go with a Snap first. So you do have your 2 supports now from Aster. Snap is pretty darn strong. We see it often enough, but it's usually in conjunction with something that gives you great lockdown. So you look at Clockwork supports with that, or Clockwork cores, you look at the Mars. You're not going to have that for Aster this time around, so kisses aren't going to be as effective. But if they do draft something and to give them some modicum of control, then have some great potency there with the AA and Snap. Just getting both of those out in 1 hero, they're probably not going to survive.
I don't think Aster really picked it up for the ult anyway. Like, you got the Snapfire now up against Phoenix, just burst takedown. That little shredder, you just wrap 8 hits. Phoenix 6 hits level 1. Later on, things can get a bit complicated, but you can at least get 6 hits straight off the bat if you do it with Snapfire around. Assuming you are not counting one of his kisses at the time it comes out. Actually, of course, go into the Ember now. It's a pretty potent pick. It's way to just the backline, get rid of this Snapfire Ancient Apparition. It does all the work well up against the DK, and John, of course, it's a natural spirit versus carrier.
Yeah, fits quite nicely into, well, against what Aster has. They don't have the best of lockdowns for slippery hero like this. You're looking at Dragon Tail really to keep Ember Spirit in place first. Cookie can work, but it's not the most reliable, and Ember Spirit is a bit too slippery, so Aster might have to consider a fast Blink or a fast Shadow Blade on the DK to get the initiation on the Ember if it becomes an issue. But it's a solid pick for IG. I think it gives you a lot in this kind of lineup. Magic damage IG has on hand now is looking pretty darn good. The Lich is great, Phoenix is great, and of course Ember placing that nicely. Aster does kind of correct that lack of control, like the Beastmaster coming out. Great single target control for the Ember Spirit, and much more reliable. You don't need to wait for those big items from the DK. You can just wait for the level 6 and Beast, smoke up, and catch that Ember out by surprise. The Hawks do give you really superior vision as well to track where the Ember Spirit's kind of putting his remnants down. So you do have ways of keeping that hero in check now.
Yeah, definitely so. I really like where Aster's gone with this draft. So much lockdown, so much team fights, so much push potential off so far from Aster. Whereas with IG, you don't really see what they're up yet. So just a bit all over the place. They definitely have the counters towards the DK. We can all agree on that, but it's not really all you want to focus on here up against Aster.
Nah. And on the bright side though, Aster picking up the Beastmaster does tell us it will be a mid DK. So you will have that Ember Spirit DK matchup, and that just means the DK is not going to be as happy. Of course, he's not going to be completely shut up. We've seen this kind of mid matchup before. You don't tend to kill the DK anyway. So up to level 5, DK is probably just going to be... He's going to hurt for a while, but you have a Soul Ring and 2 levels in your armor. Becomes a harder issue to burn him off. IG with the Terrorblade is looking to really play around a bit of a tempo, right? So the Metamorphosis comes into play. That's a big timer for IG to kind of run around. We have seen him play the Terrorblade a couple of times, and it becomes a massive issue when you don't find anything with that Metamorphosis usage. So IG falls back to this so many times. The success of it has been really middling. I'm hoping that they do play around those sharp timings this time around.
from ID now, and it just continues to surprise me if they pick up this Terrorblade. I'll be honest on it. Just maybe with the Ember, like this time around, they aren't locked in with the DP Terrorblade, so there's not as much, kind of proper strategizing around those long cooldowns, but you still got one pick on Aster, which should be able to this Terrorblade pickup. Can be a bit complicated though, because if you are going to run the DK mid, then you can't pick something with a high amount of magic damage in the safe level.
Team pick.
I wonder. IG seem to think there is potential for a void, but I would have to agree. Because it's been one of those ones that could have actually gone for something like a Maelstrom and have magic damage output for the Terrorblade.
Yeah, not just that, but you have the AA snap. It's a solid combo to have. Chronosphere for the rest of your team fight would have been great. It is a long timer though, but with this kind of draft master, so I don't blame for the ban out. IG close out with a Legion Commander. So you really don't have this synergy here, right? Like there's nothing that spells fantastic team fight. You do have great single target potential. The LC should be finding some pretty decent dual targets with the AA and Snap. It's going to be really easy to kind of clean that up. You don't need to worry about any Oracle for mitigating your dual effectiveness, or a Tusk even, right? You're going to be able to get that full dual duration and hopefully snowball very early from those wins. But the draft from IG just doesn't feel solid to me. It has no intrinsic synergy with each other. Like none of these things play around with each other quite well. Even the Legion Commander doesn't really have much to really clear out, but overwhelming odds, I guess the Beastmaster hates that if his minions are kind of lined up in the creep wave. So that's one way to get the deep push out. It's not the most amazing deep push out there. Like, we tend to see the LC more into like Phantom Laughter because there are a lot of illusions there. It really amps up the damage of that. In this case, not so much.
Choose your hero.
Let's go to the Morphling. That's one of those possible ones I forgot about, but he kind of ticks the box. He can morph into the Terrorblade, take meta. He has magic output with Ethereal Blade and Adaptive Strike. Plenty of options for him to morph into apart from that Terrorblade as well. This is really, really nice from Aster. And well, overall, they haven't got a way to do with it.
No.
They really don't. You've still got the Spirit Vessel Carrier and the Imp Spirit. Even will really be the only sort of hard counter, or sort of hard. It's more of a soft counter to the Morphling. This is a bit concerning for IG. If they don't have an amazing start on Firefly's Terrorblade, or if DT doesn't take off on the city, I don't know. I don't know how the game. If SCC can farm this Morphling, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it certainly will be. I think CC's farm timings aren't as important. What IG has to watch out for are the 4 other heroes, particularly Chuan. If the DK gets an early start, I'd say that's much scarier because the Morphling will always take time, right? He's going to take 15 to 20 minutes for E-Blade to be up, and even then you're going to be waiting for maybe the Mantis out first to buff up your stats a bit where you jump in, or even BKB perhaps if that's going to be an issue for you. So SCC is always going to be late, but the rest of Aster's lineup really just comes online on Switch. They can play aggressively on these big single target heroes. They can force team fights well with the A and Snap. IG has to play around their Ember Spirit and the Metamorphosis of their TB quite well. Right, that key. To have a good time with those 2 heroes, have them hit their timings quite fast, especially the Ember. You want this guy to set the tempo for you. You want him to be able to face up against what Aster has, and it's really going to be key for Emo to have a good lane.
Emo generally does with his lane most of the time. Shouldn't be too bad for him. Seems to be very passive in anyway. He's going to be up against the DK being played on. He's
actually up against SCCC. Like, SCTC has the tango, so it's going to be the mid-morph up against the Ember Spirit. That can be a bit dicey for the Morphling. Like, it's not the highest HP. You can juggle around with Attribute Shift. So there are some ways for Emo to overtake that lane, and SECC, I'd say, has to play a bit cautious, especially in the first 3 levels. You're not that strong before level 3. By level 3, you have a lot more flexibility.
I like this switch though. Like, if you really want to give Emo a hard time, you give him Morphling. Allows Chuan to have a bit of an easy lane and safe lane as well. You don't necessarily want to be up against that a big Ember Spirit. It's not like JT's going to be able to apply that much pressure on the LC against the high armor of the DK. So I do really like when Aster's brought out here with this laning stage already. Like, you look at that top lane as well, XXS, he's going to be on that Beast Master, applying a hell of a lot of pressure on terribly, and I just don't see as much pressure to be applied on Chuan. But should have a much easier time than this TB is going to have.
Yeah, it can still get a bit dicey depending on how often Kaka lands with Fire Spirits. That's one way to really chew through the DK, I think, in this double lane. And JT will have a lot of regen earlier because of press of the attack. So Chuan will have to kind of play it safe. By the time he hits level 3, of course, it becomes very tricky to deal with the Dragon Blood, but level 1 is when he's weakest.
Both supports are currently in the mid lane. Ollie
Has been killed.
does find a sniper on SCCC's courier. That's actually giving Emo a bit of an advantage. Waits for the next or so. Very little play coming out from the ledge. And Ollie will just... Is he actually going to stick around? So both supports are actually going to use the other core. So essentially the bot and top lane have become the 1v1 or 1v2 situation. But dual lineups mid. Look,
This is probably the best way to run the lane for the Morphling. Like, again, he's just kind of weak early on. You want to give him some space, and this is the only way you can really get it done. Like, look at Emo. You can just play aggressive with the chain, with the fist, with a flame guard, walk up to SCCC, and his regen's just not enough.
I'm up now. Guess you are just waiting for that threat before you really believe on them. We already see probably getting the comeback up top. So Firefly was gonna have a bit of a hard time and Beastmaster at the same time. Not the easiest lane up against Snapfire either, probably. Like, you can spam Frost Blast as much as you want, but it can be pretty frustrating with the Scat Blast. Like,
yeah,
Firefly help out a bit by sending some illusions in.
Yeah, it's not the best of lanes for Fly right now. He's had 7 last hits, not the best. Like, it's not a smooth start. It is certainly better than Chuan's though. So Terrorblade is still kind of netting out compared to our quote-unquote +1 DK. So still better start for him, but not the ideal. And with the presence of Fall, you should be able to correct that bit. You can't really expect much from Terrorblade when Metamorphosis is down.
A lot of aggression of the Bo3. Bo3 can be forced to TP and he should be just perfectly fine. Let's play thinking from him. He go back towards the tower and won't have to run back to the lane.
Yeah, that's
what I thought about it. Like, you can't. Great night coming out from JT, like he's denying a lot of farm, but Chuan won't be too slow. I think he'll just be okay with slammed, especially as the level goes up. They just won't be able to get through the Hadrian armor.
Yeah, he's at that level 3 point. You don't quite pump out as much as you'd expect. Like, Taka can still be a big threat, but the LC really doesn't do too much against the DK once you have this much regen. So it's going to be a farming lane for Chuan. The only hero that can hope to kill off is probably Baboka. He doesn't really show it, although they'll jump now.
We'll try. Baboka should go down here. Fire Spirit standing again. He ate it enough HP. He will definitely go down to the wave. Kaka. Chuan is going to take Kaka down, but doesn't have mana for the fire, so that should be enough of that. Nice first blood being picked by IG.
Yeah.
IG can just keep it up. They really want to try and contest that stand of a hard camp, but looks like JT is going to go ahead and secure it.
Yeah, they can get a lot of damage onto that. Even the Phoenix can clear out camps pretty well. But Boca does come back in with an urn though, so we've seen a lot of these supports come in with the early urn, even without charges, just do so many good stats in lane.
Yeah. Stun, Coldplay, he's gonna bear Parker, should break 5 out. He'll be fine. JT is very, very focused on just ensuring his farm is crazy amount higher than Schwann's. Of course, looking up to that mid lane, up to balance for Firefly Ever, he's starting to catch up on that XXX. Actually not opting to go for the call of the wild double balls. He put him one, but ultimately decided he's going to mess up the game. Did see yesterday, and not really pan out that time. I'm curious to see if XXX can make it work on the Beastmaster this time.
I think the key thing to that is because you're playing up against such a high armor hero in the Terrorblade that you would rather the raw damage and the wave clear from the wall. This like Fly is dropping fairly low there. If you do go for Boris in this case, like yeah, you've got the slow. They haven't really been in a position to go for kills on this top lane. You have seen a much more focus from Fade to zone out Lich instead. So you don't really have the biggest kill potential solo, and they just go for the safer, farm heavier play. That does bring XSS to around the top in terms of last hits though.
Kaka gets caught up by Kaka, scouting him out just at the end, and poor AA is going to have a bit of a tough time. Speaking of tough times, I thought mid lane was going to be a little bit more contested than this, but it seems as though the Triple C has come ahead. Top lane, Fade, and funding the T1 tower doesn't end up dying.
Yeah, that's a really greedy dive coming out from Fade, and of course, all Fly needs to do is pop his meta. It is up. So he's going to have an easier time farming up here. This is probably not the moment where you group up, but they are sending Baboka up top as well. They want to get something done here.
Question is, what will they get done? Only they slowed up. Access to fly out, snap fly out, it's going to pass it there as well, and Cookie just barely in range. They may have decided they wanted to try now, just really force Firefly to have a tough time. That very early, he can apply a bit more pressure. Of course, mid lane actually ended up getting a solo on the 8 ball. Didn't catch. He made it happen. So they'll get a few kills on the ball themselves now. But Aster.
Yeah, it's early investment on mid when they had Baboka sit around really helped SECC. Oh, no?
Yeah, jumps back in. Line punch from him. Juggle his HP and be perfect fine. It's very, very hard to contest the Morphling 1v1. Like, sure, once you get the Spirit Vessel off, but now it's seemingly impossible.
Yeah, the Imo has to kind of focus on either doing rotations on the side lanes or just farming the jungle. Probably farm. Oh, top roar onto Ollie.
Nice little easy bitch kill. Not really aiming for fly, because they don't really believe they can get through that amount of armor, and even Firefly does come from a pretty early point in some. I want to be extra careful about how it does something about XXS saying with stuff. Scan out the use Firefly, but he is moving forward. Who has rotated? Ollie trying to come in at TP, and that's playing perfect. We'll drag it off. We look to a T1 top tower put.
Yeah. Play for Aster. Just having Chuan leave that bot lane super early on. Once he hits 6, applying this pressure, this is exactly what Aster needs. You need the DK to be active early, regardless of farm, push down those objectives with the Beastmaster. They take a very fast tier 1 top. So now you're going to be struggling to find space for that Terrorblade to find a farm himself.
It's always him with DK, John. It's that one he doesn't need farm. Always do what he needs to do, regardless of how good of a lane he has. And that was really like you saw JT, he was trying his absolute best to make sure that Chuan couldn't get any last hit. He did a really good job. Tron can always just rotate, get a 3-1 tower, and farm the jungle instead.
Has fallen.
Yeah, and they traded tier 1, so you do see IG take that tier 1 bot, but again, no one has been staying in that area. It's been basically Baboka trying to soak that lane. And it's kind of important for your AA to get that level 6. Baboka is still at 4. You're not going to have that Ice Blast anytime soon unless you give him the book, which is certainly a possibility. But you're fine with this, right? You're forcing all these heroes down bot for support. You've got so much leeway around the map now to get rotations out. There are some good defensive wards from IG, so these do spot out the movements of Aster, which they're probably not going to find any major kill.
Radiant's courier has been
Well, they do find that Triple C is warrior. This Triple C will just wait for more wave. He has Morbid Mask up. You can always just go to the jungle and freely farm that. Aster still putting pressure up at that top lane as well. They're really just trying to force rotation from IMD. It's a bit hard because you don't really want to rotate up to this top lane because your jungle is currently in anyway. So it's very, very limited if IG. Were cancelled off now for a smoke, so they really want to try and go up JT with this roar. Are they going to be able to break the distance? No, except he's saying let's move. No, Fade says no, let's go now. Fade gets a cancellation on the PP. JT tries to run. They don't need to commit the roar. Meanwhile, however, Schwan does lose his life in the mid lane of the DK. I wasn't yet committal for that, but chain fronts as well.
is under attack.
And that'll just open up the team for bot town now, so you know they can't fight.
It should be a really quick push from Aster while they don't quite have anyone else around right now. They did kind of pull back, but SCCC does some good damage as well if you wanted to, although they'll play it safe. They pulled back. You trade the DK for JT. It's an even trade. You do get a little bit more from killing the DK, but JT on this LC has not been finding dual wins. That's something IG kind of could play around if they wanted to. Like, you really could start snowballing fast. This kind of, I'd say if you're going to look for those pickoffs, you have to have that LC around, even without the link. Just have the duel ready to go, get those early wins, and JT will have a lot more presence, even in zone farming areas.
I'm getting spotted out now by Faye. They are underneath an observable box. IG may very well try and turn this around. For Spade, doesn't have that level 6. You've got water kisses, you've got to pass the Boga. Be a bit careful about take this, but Fade does get caught out first. That's not the time you want. He's trying to cookie down the defense does, but Emo is chasing and now Fade is completely grounded. Boga, he can get burnt out by. The Sun Ray looks like it will not be up in the end. Bit of a misplay from IG, snapped by right at the front.
Yeah, it's really down to that beautiful defensive ward IG's had for a while. There has been no movement from Aster to get that D ward off. If they want to play in that jungle area, they've got to invest in the vision there as well.
Again, yeah, focus on the core, and it looks like Emo wants to be that core, but Emo has
Dire's
not.
bottom tower is under attack.
It may run into Ollie here. They'll have to stop for a bit here, unfortunately. Twan gets cooking forward, does get the dragon tail off. Not the kill they wanted,
Dire's bottom tower
but they'll take what they can get. And, it'll still allow them to force that tier 1 bot. He does take happily. And in fact, they may try and pressure mid a little bit. You've got those Mortimer's Kisses and Iron Fist available to use on Aster if you do want to.
Yeah, it's definitely really potent. Really needs to tighten up those vision. Like, they smoke up to try to find kills. They don't really have the best wards. They just plant a ward in this bottom triangle area. It's not the most comprehensive one as well. They don't put it up in that cliff spot, so it doesn't see as far as it can. And again, the top lane has no real vision. They have wards in their own bot jungle. For whatever reason, perhaps to protect SCCC while he was in that area, but it looks like they're starting to shift their farm lanes anyway for the morph, so considering a little bit more of an aggressive ward drop would be great. The smoke from IG was scanned out as well, though. The success of this one is kind of up in the air.
Yeah, they may be fun, but they may not, though. They're running directly towards the poor AA. The Boka does go back to farm creep or two, and this may cost him his life, but if you're IG, do you really want to risk this team?
Oh?
Behind him, and yeah, you know, just shows himself, makes him aware that he was there in the first place. That'll be a suck. Seems like there's quite a bit of desperation to get some dual victories under the belt of JT. They really haven't utilized that at all yet.
Nah, it's been a slow game for JT. And the Legion Commander is supposed to be the hero setting the pace here along with the Ember, but doesn't really have the tools to, even if he had that great laning start. It could come down to his itemization as well. Like, going for the Hood of Defiance does help him survive, but it get that blink initiation, which it feels like IG really needs if they want to find these easy pickoffs. So perhaps once that's up, they can start finding successful duels. Now they are just posturing around this jungle where they have some decent vision now.
IG pops the man up. Here comes Emo. Nice change with the Sunray flying out. Chuan can pop the Dragon from it now. Nice draw from Invictus. The chain frost though nothing through the ice blast. Gonna be there. Ego does go down, and now Ollie, he goes way too far forward. It's an unsuccessful team fight. It's just a lot of panic from IG, right? Really wait for AT to get a jewel off. Yeah. Have one form of lockdown apart from pins, and that really isn't enough.
Nah, that was, I believe, the blink reveal from Chuan as well. So he goes in, he gets the stun off on the back, he locks in Fly, I believe, and they just kind of break up. Like, they had an observer ward. I think that IG was feeling confident in that area, but there's still a tier 2 to TP into. Aster was ready to counterfight. They have really big control. IG's draft is built around the egg, and even then, right now, the presence of Kaka has not been as big as you'd expect from Phoenix.
Success. Showing it to Emo, but Boka cold, but Emo will run it away again. That leaves Emo with one random. Has to know this, and they will start forcing in that top tier 2 tower now. This is really just surgical play from Aster. Duel is quite long. You're just taking all the objectives off the map. You know IG can't find it. This goes back to that Terrorblade pick, right? We talk about it so much. But once that Metamorphosis is on cooldown, they just lock down Emo. No. He does get taken out. And there's some inspiration out from IG. His Kaka will Icarus time away. XX has the roar. Any more come to join and save Kaka. Kaka is essentially wasting time, but he is also dragging them towards his own teammate. JT can go for a TP, and he'll make it in time. The Kaka, he will successfully get out of there. He's wasted a bit of time here on the side of Master. But I don't think we get to capitalize off that.
Nah.
Why find it fun for the Terrorblade?
That's still nice for IG, right? Like, you want this Terrorblade to still build up. He's fairly close to another big item pickup, has 2,000 in the bank, already has his match style up and running, and this is a good spot. You have farm parity with a Morphling. It's just that Terrorblade requires so much more to have a big impact. At CCC, all he has are Power Treads, Mask, and the E-Blade, but that's enough.
That is. Also, if there's anyone watching the game wondering why there's a section where the game starts spiking and lagging, I'm not sure. It's the connection to Australian Tire not being 9th. So, not much for that one.
Is it ever nice, Mike?
How's yours going, by the way, John? Going well today for you?
Today, Southeast Asia decided to give me good internet, so it's actually pretty stable. I have to say though, past few days for me, it's been hard to comment because it's been spiking. You know, it's like a slideshow effect where the movements are choppy, but the map and camera aren't. So it's been kind of hard, but it's okay today.
But good. It's good to hear. I grouped up as 5. We're going for a smoke. Looks like we are. Carl brings one out of the backpack. They are underneath the Hawker. This would be very upsetting timing for IG, but both are placing more wards now, but IG keeps moving forward. They do have the Metamorphosis. It's Triple C showing himself, but who do you go on first? You need to run that jewel, stun, but he'll be fine. They purge it off. Now Fly already losing half his HP. That's the meta pop. So if you're active, you just wait this meta out, and then you go for a smoke yourself. In fact,
Yeah,
don't mind the smoke right now.
IG smokes up 12. They popped their smoke earlier.
As we'll see, breaks it. Not the easy. He's targeted. One jumps in with the blink. Now egg beat it, but rapid fire. From Fade. They do get the egg, but Chuan has been caught in a duel in that chain frost, doing so much damage to the supports of Aster. And I'll be frank, there was one reason why that worked by IG, and that's because Aster did not wait for the meta. It really shouldn't. I don't know why you slipped it early if your team Aster, maybe just wanting to get away to the other side of the map a bit quicker, but
That was a ill-fated smoke. A couple of factors beyond just the meta. They couldn't get the lockdown they wanted, so Chuan had to force himself to blink and stun on an unideal target. I believe he jumped onto Taco first and they didn't manage to get that kill. He just pops the supernova, which yeah, you managed to find Phoenix in the end from the egg. But you lose so many other heroes. The saving grace for Aster is that SCCC slips out of there. Your Morphling is punished, and you actually have XXS just soloing Roche for now. So you have this going on for you for Aster. They get the Roche, and IG is not aware. They don't have vision here.
it's a real shame. You do not be capable of just coming down for Triple C, so this is going to be the perfect time for Aster to fight. Still, they're going to find a huge objective in the Roche shot, and the Arc should have paused the pipeline.
Well, they are on their way. Like, IG is kind of clumped up. They're slowly moving there. Nah, it's just about dead anyway. They could try to force a fight, but you don't have Metamorphosis on Fly. He's not around. Probably not the best idea, IG. Just give it away.
I imagine they're going to be running away in just a moment. No chance in hell they're fine.
Well, look at what IG has now. Fly is still holding on to a lot of gold. I think he's contemplating rushing a hall. Not a straight up BKB. Like, he's not queuing anything up. He could maybe he thinks he needs more HP. Nah, he's building into Scotty. He's got the ultimate orb up, so he's just kind of pocketing for now. But should be Scotty coming out for him, just to give himself a little bit more stats and presence, and that should help out. Like, you already saw the issue earlier. You tried to Manta dodge SCCC's E-Blade, didn't quite get the timing and lost half his HP, so really gonna need to start stacking some HP up on the TB to stand in front and do the damage he needs to do.
I mean, it's not really that, though, right? Like, you get those added stats, but it also to up against this Triple C and try the DK. Like, there's a lot of value in this on Scotty.
At the minus Regent's Cradle, though. Ooh.
You end up getting all the stun there
Oh,
on
no.
top of it, man. That's the big one. But this M, like, not only would you hope he sets a tempo appears for your team, but he's so much damage up against Triple C, and just losing him over and over like that is really not helping out IG at all.
Emo's really fallen behind in terms of farm. Like, he's just about up there with GT, and he isn't too far behind the DK, but the DK just gives you so much more. with that farm. Like, he doesn't need too much. We've been talking about this the entire game, but it's just that blink, just a blink stun, and your DK is still going to be doing enough for you.
There's the morph.
Oh god.
Into the Terrorblade now, yeah. SCCC went in morph back to the Morphling. They'll just really look at staying as the TV.
Radiant's top tower.
It looks kind of ridiculous. That's a small model. It looks so like a TV Junior. Now it's like.
They find a few mid tower. Now a line's been drawn out straight towards that bot lane.
Got a good scan.
Set up for it. Yeah, it's a nice scan, definitely. IG looking up, understanding where SCCC went. They're not going to just chase him down. You do now have the Eye of Skadi on Fly as well. So there couldn't be a better time to try. Aster, well, they realize is awry. Chuan. Well, my think pros, but there's the duel come out of Chuan. Shine fairly easily. It's not a nice little victory for IG. That'll give the time for the rest of Aster to just get the hell up. That is exactly what they'll do.
It's a neat little pick-off for IG. Aster's not going to mind. Chuan has kind of taken the backseat in terms of farming. Although, oh,
kill Ollie. I'm not sure if this is going to be worth his life, but he pops BKB and now it comes out. But this CCC just going to focus it down. Fade trying to get range for the end. He won't get there, but it's Fly as well. Does down a fade, and now they jump onto JT on the LC. SCCC can't lock him down, but he has help on the way. They don't need to take the LC down. JT's got 36 dual damage, John. This is a disaster for IG. And Aster are going to start forcing him to see the tower.
yeah, I mean, they still have the fort, but they have to contend with the Aegis on SCCC. It's not going to be an easy defense for IG.
No. Unless
they don't.
Aster really want to save Aegis. And looks like they will. So you're going to go back up to full health in the neutrals. Well, the lag is getting pretty bad, apparently, which is not good.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. It can get gnarly. You know how that line is. Sometimes it's just, there was like a typhoon flying through my country, so that might have affected the lines to China for some reason as well. I'm not sure. Haven't heard news about that one.
Radiant are scanning.
Mid lane. They can't fly.
Oh.
Jewel. No, just press the attack on DT. Just preemptively. Gale Blast does not connect on Fly. Aster may actually be happy that they waited a little bit longer because they got a BKB now up on Chuan.
Yeah, they can start applying some pressure on that tier 2. IG shouldn't look to defend that. They have to start thinking about the high ground here. They will have Egg in a bit. Kaka's gonna have that back up. It is up and running. You're gonna have the Metamorphosis from Fly fairly soon. So even if you lose this tier 2, the high ground should be something that you can hold on to. It's that Aegis advantage, which does expire. So SCCC no longer has that Aegis, and that does give you a few options here for IG in the defense. They find tier 1 top as well, so not the worst use of that time, and IG does kind of find something for the trouble, but Aster is slowly building up, right? Like, you've got the Manta style on STCC, you already mentioned the BKB on Chuan, you've got the blink up on XXS. He hasn't actually had that for a while, so it's a fairly fresh pickup from him. He should be able to land much more effective roars, and it's not like he hasn't been landing them anyway.
Yeah. It's going to be a very, very easy time for him. And his target is pretty much always either going to be Fly or Emo. He doesn't care about any other target. Especially Emo. If you find the Ember, just don't let him remnant out. The game becomes so much easier.
Yeah, you do see Emo kind of work his way towards a Lincoln Sphere to help himself survive. That will stop one spell. It probably will catch Aster by surprise the first time around. But beyond that, you want to consider a longer term solution. Now, a BKB wouldn't work too well. That would at least block the DK stun. So that's something to consider if you wanted to.
shame here for Imo though is he got a Veil of Discord just recently, but it's not going to do too much anymore.
No.
BKB's just going to be able to purge that off anyway. Yeah, it's looking really tough for this Dire side as time goes on. 7k net worth behind the moment, 28 minutes in. Firefly, what are you aiming for next? He's going for a BKB on the turret, which is going to be pretty important considering a lot of the damage that he's going down to is seen as his shotgun.
Yeah, it's gonna help immensely, but you're also at the point where SCCC's right clicks are potent, right? Like he can just morph into Terrorblade, get the Meta off, get the Manta style off as well for added illusion. That's a very big army you have to deal with from the morph. So that IG has to be careful about. They're not really built up. The best thing they can hope for is a nice big team fight in the choke point. Because of that egg, say a Roche pit comes around, when it respawns, if you have the egg outside a pit and force them to stay inside, that's a really strong area to be. You've got the Chain Frost potentially flying out as well, and high ground is where they can shine. You see some items flying out from IG to help them out, like Kaka is saving up for the Halberd, so he's just about halfway through to his Talisman. And once that's up, of course, you're going to be mitigating a lot of the raw right-click damage from someone like SCTC. The issue is Kaka has been focused down a lot as well. He just kind of melts, so they have to be cautious about their positioning here with the Phoenix.
I don't know if he's going to have time to use the Halberd, John. Do you really have time to wait for a DKB charge to be over first? Like, you have to get the egg out sometime.
Yeah. Oh no.
Hey, he takes the bounty, it's worth his life. Although that is not going to be worth JT's life. Ice Blast flying through and he can't even heal himself up. I'm just going to run away though. No, come on. He goes to the Dragon Form, getting the Triple T. Icarus timing right behind the Phoenix. Disgusting.
Oh man. IG just caught their pants down, punished for trying to just contest bounty runes. There's just bounty runes on the map. They can't even get that done. They've got to play safer. Like, they don't have vision around to help them secure these runes anyway. That was a fairly greedy play in terms of going in, a fairly risky play without the vision. If they want to do that, they've got the wards for it. They've got one ward on the bot jungle cliff. That's it. That's probably not the best, because that's fairly shallow in their jungle, so not much movement has been coming out from Aster there. It is securing them farm in that area. They haven't really hung out there as well though. Like, you should probably just toss fly there for a safe farm, although there are Hawks spotting that area anyway that you can't really find.
More than happy to just take a bit of time and get a farm up. They'll allow success to these BKB out there, little base monster matters even hard for IG. They're still trying to farm towards that Liquid Spirit at the moment. They're thinking about smoking it on IG. They do farm out one, just look around the way. They know exactly where Aster are, but it's just a matter of how you initiate, and Emo looks to go in. Right at a sleight of fist, that's going to get now. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. It does seem as though JT's going to be the one to jump in and start the fight. They are really relying on Emo instead. Every time Emo steps forward to try and get in range, he gets stunned. It's going to be super important for JT to take that distraction away from his other cores. But at the same time, he's not tanky enough to really deal with that much damage either. He's not that tanky LC you kind of used to see.
It's been a slow game for JT. The key thing is that he can jump in. It's that they can't find a backline. Aster has been super disciplined in having Boboka and having Fade all the way back, so you can't get the easy dual targets you want. You don't want to dual SCCC, even though that's great control. If he manages to get that shift off, he's still probably going to live through it, and the damage flying out from Aster to follow up will still be immense.
I've Scott now. going to be available on SCCC. Morphing into that Terrorblade, using those illusions.
Are scanning.
Would see a smoke potentially from Aster if they have one, but they don't. Or posture around that Roshan pit, which is up and available again. Icarus not going to scout it out. So you take it very, very quickly with that the Metamorphosis. Emo now going to come in and Sunray going to be there as well as SCCC. Dragon Tower going to be up one, but it's perched off by G. For the dime, he will commit the egg. Now the duel coming out onto Chuan. That is a lot of land coming out as well. Chuan will die, and with that, looks like IG want to really want to keep punishing. They will find Baboka. They do kill him. That'll be the end of that. A great team fight from IG. Bit preemptive coming out from Aster to try to first the fifth. They couldn't take half the round in time.
Yeah, this is a really big opening for IG. They can try to go for the Roche, but it is going to be tricky. You do have Fade. He's going to try to go for it.
Have vision on the front. It's a bit early. Fade some training. He does not get it. He does pick up the Aegis. Try.
It's a pretty good swing for IG. Like they get to have the Aegis and Cheese. Have a lot more leeway to take these fights. Aster has to be careful. That was a tight point. That's where IG shines. We talked about that pit being a key area for IG to take fights. You saw a good Ed coming out. You saw a good Chain Frost. You can't afford to risk it there. They also did manage to find a fairly good duel off onto Chuan. So they isolated the DK, took him out first, and they do still have damage. They do get what basically was a 9k lead for Aster down.
He pops DKB, rolled up. SCCC for B there. Who are you aiming for? SCCC. He kind of turned around on the aim. Now Emo. Remedy Paul trying to help out. Blind Flight. Huge trouble. Can't get the sun roll. Go down. They will try and chase down the Morphling a little bit, but eventually decide better of it. SCCC did pop his BK charge. Decent loss coming out from RG.
Yeah, that does kind of take away a bit of that bounce back from the Roche fight. Like, losing Fly is a big deal. Although, by the time he's up, you will have Metamorphosis back up. So that's some decent timing for it, at least. Yeah, when he's back up for a potential fight, he's gonna have mid up and running. The itemization of Fly, I have to say, is going to hurt him a bit. He went for the Crystallis into Daedalus, or he re-queued into Satanic for a little bit more man-fight potential, but SCCC's going for the Butterfly. So you're going to be missing a lot of those hits on the Morphling, and the durability SCCC will get from the Butterfly is going to be that much more valuable.
Not to mention he has the knife Scuffy. But a lot of was just going to gain it anyway. Assuming SCCC is hitting that Terrorblade. Pipe up on Faye. Yeah, this lag is horrendous. Now I'm up on presentation. Not very good at all.
Yeah, I have to say, with the pop turn of Aster, right? Like, they just lost that Roche Tree Found Fly. He did expend the cheese as well there, so not the best, but they lost the Aegis out. They're still the ones playing aggressive. I love seeing that from Aster. They know that they still have a really big advantage here, and IG still has a lot more work to do to swing the game to their favor. Now, IG does have a lot more tools out. Like, Kaka does finish up the Halberd, so he does have that in these fights. The disarm is going to play quite nicely into mitigating the output of Aster. That is going to be extremely helpful, and it doesn't feel like Aster's had best vision game, at least in terms of dust. So the Glimmer Cape on Ollie could potentially save a few more cores than you'd expect as well.
I wonder if Aster actually go for that high ground push. I've always noticed about Aster is they're for the slow to make a high ground attempt.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
You just think SCCC to finish up by fight, but I mean they're 10k ahead right now.
Yeah, they really do tend to be slow in finding those last set of objectives. if they force a fight out there, like IG is sure to TP, and they could try to shift focus elsewhere, maybe find a pick off in the back line. Like the moment you take Cop out in a high ground push, you lack so much presence in high ground. You really rely on the egg and the Phoenix heal to sustain your team, and if you key pick off, it's gone.
You've left the top lane alone. That's Triple C just running it down right now. Does force out a lot of rotations. Has to be there for the Phoenix. Can't go. Tries to open the three. Now the kid forward.
What?
Now obviously
What?
position. As Triple C with a triple. Two
Oh.
climax to fly out, but now he gets wrapped out of it. Oh,
The knife.
he gets remnant by him. Stays to be there. Triple C to be too forward. Cookie and Chain Plus nothing. We're really doing nothing. And that's Speed KB now. Still going. Gets other heads off. The pull is the same.
no.
Just. But JT will go down as well. Triple C finishing off the max in the room. Does get stuck by the. It's fine. Has to be very careful. Luckily, Triple C does choose to back out instead of turning around for the ethereal blade shot.
Oh man, IG. Kaka dove in. He didn't expect the Prince knife. He didn't expect that Tier 4 item to be in play. And the Hex just kills them all. It ruins everything in IG's defense. They don't even have the egg for the next set of racks. So the presence, the turnaround potential of IG's draft is lacking. Fly will not have Metamorphosis for a minute 20. You really can't do much here.
Fly, pull down. That's gonna fly through. Fly's dead. He finds back. But that rack's melting. IG starts to lose smoke. He would jump in. Jumps back out. Just like flying out everywhere. You know, it's that a classic cast curse, John. I was just saying as it takes a while to go high ground, and as soon as I say that, as Triple C finds a triple kill on high ground and takes racks by himself, and now they have the mid racks, and
Yeah. Oh,
they're looking great, Aster.
they definitely are. You're gonna see some key items, key pickups for Aster as well. Like the Ags is up for XXS on Beastmaster, so you're gonna have the Wild Axe spam forever for Infinity from Beastmaster. That is going to be so annoying to play against, especially if you're like Fly. Constant magic damage to whittle you away. It's just really great as well for shoving out his lane. So XXS does have a tool to consistently keep everything shoved in if you wanted to go around a map like that. And it just makes it that much harder for IG to kind of get a grip here.
I love it. I really do. It's gonna be fun to watch. Plus, once you get to that 25 mark, you really want, and the plus 80, well, that's. So, it's not a damage, no cooldown.
Yeah.
It's like a. He doesn't exactly need to pump or anything, but again, that terrible, all that magic damage flying through. Nice ice blast on Kaka. Kaka may actually just be dead. That's
No.
he was dead.
Oh.
Now, no! Triple C against JP. It will not even connect on S Triple C. He's gonna die as well. And Kaka, the accuracy will be fine. Fly is by himself, rushed forward. They call GG anyway. They've had enough.
Oh man, IG. It's been a rough few days for them. It does game, Big Sam game one doesn't look any better. Aster just coming out heavily on top, working this draft perfectly well. 2-1.
FY, he's found himself No-Tail out on his own.
He's trapped him.
There's No-Tail. Is he going to get any sort of backup? No, he's not. There's 3 still dead on OG. It'll be a slow and painful death here for No-Tail as Ame comes in for the kill secure.
And I love the way that Chalice popped his BKB super early in that fight. He just knows, I just need to get my ulti off. And he cast it at a very safe range. He didn't wait for the last second of his BKB. He's not very greedy. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they've been winning these team fights. Seb has been struggling, still about 1,000 gold away from his BKB.
I mean, yeah, this Brewmaster is a display of perfection, really. It's the highest level in the game with his Bloodseekers.
And doing a ton of damage in the fight. One of the most damage in the game as an offlaner.
Now has full Shiva, so even more ways. He's pretty much itemized entirely just to be like, Ana, I'm ruining your game. I've got Radiance, I've got Shivas. You're going to struggle so much in these fights as Phantom Lancer.
Jerax did his best to keep Ana alive, and but Ana wasn't able to do damage because he was ruptured. He wasn't that low on HP, but still can't run around.
Seb.
Oh, Ame's got ninjas here.
Got to be careful who shows up top. Indeed, Jerax. He's going out on his own. He doesn't expect Ame to have this invis route. As Ame will show himself. Jerax goes across, but Somnus is there.
Somnus is not messing around rupturing.
No mercy. They're feeling very confident now at this point, getting these very advantageous team fights as well as getting kills on the split push too. Thompson though, we'll find X-Nova.
Seb, and as well, between the two of them, they'll take down the support edge. FY's going to come in though. He hasn't got anyone else with him at the moment. It is just FY, so just playing around with Seb.
He has no help around at all, and he's still just making Seb's life miserable.
He's just toying with him. He's just making him not be able to come back. Look, they're already starting to rotate this Brewmaster and Bloodseeker too, and FY, he's ready to look for Seb.
Seb's got to get out.
Oh, Seb.
As indeed, FY, the patience, keeping that control on Seb, buying time for Chalice to come in. Ana is going to look towards the Tusk. Chalice is now there, does have Primal Split available if he wants to look to take this fight. Somnus coming in as well. As Ana, Seb look to hide in the trees. Can they get out of it? Ana's got a TP available. He's into the trees. He's going to show himself in the lane though. They're going to continue to head over. They are going to see Seb make it out in time. They don't have a stun. Ana, can he get out as well? He can. OG will avoid that rotation from PSG LGD.
FY is just so obnoxious there, following Seb for over a minute, just stalking him, trying to have his team come over.
So that's about, a minute without Aegis being used for LGD. They have 2 minutes left, I would say, to capitalize on this Aegis. Oh man, looks like he is level the PL.
Pretty much back to a 50-50. PSG LGD 2-1 up at the moment in this best of 5 grand finals. 1 game needed to secure the championship title. And at this point, they are ahead here in game 4.
No-Tail hasn't had time to gather a full army of Ancient Creeps. Right now, he just has the Ancient Black Dragon. You really want those other auras when you're at a big disadvantage in these team fights already.
Yeah, it's tough though, because Jerax doesn't want to be following around his Chen, giving him the agony. So. As Thompson, he does have a Lincoln Sphere picked up, and they should have the BKB finished on Seb too. So that'll give him a little bit easier time to get those Blink calls as he's been suffering to do so in the last few fights. And Somnus, full I've Scotty picked up, about to be level 25 as well.
Yeah, they just need a couple more minutes on the side of OG before they're ready to fight. Wait for the Aegis to expire.
Seb, he's in, gets the call, the character's going to get FY, there with the snowball save. He's going to be fine, and now they turn to look towards the axe. The taunt's going to be out. Seb goes for the TP. They've got the stun to cancel though. Seb held back for now. Thompson trying to offer his best from the side to provide some sort of safety, as he will get Seb back. They're able to get Seb back to safety, and Thompson is running away. X-Nova's there with the wraparound, gets the slow off, gives the vision for the snowball. TP from No-Tail's coming in towards the stride, but Thompson, he's trapped.
That's twice in this series that X-Nova just comes out of nowhere. Like, he's just on a warding expedition, then he just ends up wrapping behind these people constantly.
Perfect time.
Perfect timing, and has the Centaur creep to boot. And look at these deep wards that he's placed during that time that he was running around doing so. He now has full vision of OG. Yeah, he sees Ana farming these Ancients right now.
Oh, Ana. FY just giving so much information for the team. He's got eyes on him. Get the punch on the wrong target, but the snowball pass will catch Ana. Ana, he's in trouble. The Blood Bright Silence connects. He's got the man to back up in a second, but can he really play his way out of this one? He cannot. Ana down for a minute and a half.
Just having all this vision. X-Nova throughout this whole tournament has had the best vision in every situation, even when you wouldn't expect it. They're just like, oh, they're fighting on the left side. They're not going to have vision over here. But no, X-Nova always seems to have those prepared in every situation.
And he has some incredible foresight to be able to have these wars that just lead to really clutch pickoffs. And Axe has not spent his money on BKB. He has the money, but he might be looking to save for buyback.
We'll see if any of the buybacks do get forced out. Thompson's still dead for 15. Ideally, he doesn't buy back here. They may have to buy back on Ana. He's gone for 50 seconds. The split coming out from Chalice. He's ready to push in, look for the stun on No-Tail to hold back the Chen as the mid-racks are exposed. PSG LGD, 40 minutes in, able to open into the base and clean out this mid lane of racks. Still Ana holding on to that buyback.
And they're going to keep going here. They really want to force this PL to come back here.
Stun onto Thompson. He will blink dodge it. But another tier 3 tower falling incredibly fast. They really don't want to use it. Seb jumps in, gets the call onto FY. There's the buyback. The Cataclysm isn't enough to do anything. It isn't. PSG LGD still fighting strong. Thompson getting focused by Somnus. Seb taken down by Arme. The triple buybacks now out as Ana in trouble. He's pulled back for this one. The deafening blast onto the three of them knocks them back. But Ana gets focused. Seb! He's in with the call. He has the control onto the morphing Somnus. Now being chased by Thompson. Blinks in with the cold snap. The PL army's on top of it. They get Somnus too. As OG, they have to expend 3 buybacks, but they hold on to the top racks. Somnus now down for 2 minutes. No buyback available on this Bloodseeker.
Yeah, he's 400 gold short of it. It's up in about 8 seconds. OG, they have to make so much happen here. They have to push out all their lanes. 2 of the side lanes are already going, but I think trying to get some kills here, like on FY here, would be very ideal.
I mean, look how close to Brew is at 25.
So close.
With that primal split cooldown.
Oh, Thompson, he sees it FY. He's used the snowball, he turns with the combo FY with the self-fuels, but OG, they've surrounded him. Seb jumps in with the call, the blade mail, FY's gone.
Instant buyback from FY.
Still that scary, scary time for LGD. 75 seconds without Somnus. OG have the full 5-man pushing in all 3 lanes at the same time as they approach LGD's base.
I don't even know if I get the edge with this team fight. The LGD are involved, but no blood take up to 60 seconds. This could be disastrous.
He's got a full BKB on Seb as well.
Chalice really wants to hit level 25 before he pops that primal split. So close.
Just got to be careful, Seb. Looking for that blink initiation.
Chalice is stepping back. They give him the tome. He needed like 5 experience, and they gave him the tome just to make sure that he gets it anyway. Just playing as safe as possible here.
Looks like OG don't feel that the window is big enough for them to push in whilst this Bloodseeker's still dead. They'll back away.
They can't count. They bought back 3 heroes. They weren't able to get any T3s, and there's no Roshan up yet. Big Daddy No-Tail's praying for a Rosh right now so they can get that refresher, but it's not going to be out. And maybe we'll dodge a bullet.
At least they got a good amount of economy off that, right?
Yep.
It was up to a 15k gold advantage, and they chunked it down to 7. Same thing with experience. So they did get quite a lot out of that one, but they ideally wanted to get at least one of those sets of racks to get some momentum pushing in with those 3 buybacks used.
Absolutely, it is this really scary moment of the game now for OG. We're about 5-6 minutes still without those buybacks available. If PSG LGD can find that one team fight, it could be the team fight to win TI in this window of time that they now have presented to themselves.
Ana's gone full in for that butterfly too. As they pick up also an Aeon disc on Jeremy, so protected in O. DD did spawn, however, was killed in 5.
It's also pretty scary for Maybe right now. He only has a 5-second BKB, and he does a lot of damage and will get wrecked by the X Blade Mail call if he finds him, especially with his BKB now. There's not that many ways to stop him.
It's just all about FY and Chalice, right? Just either saving or just getting into the midst of the fights and not allowing OG to get the picks.
And the smoke. It's going to be dispelled.
Let's get dispelled.
He's in the trees. They're on the high ground. They've got the vision with the Shiva's covered. Ana's on his way over. They've got the snowball down. There's the counterplay. Seb jumps in. He's able to find the call onto Chalice, but Chalice already got the BKB out. The Sunstride's going to be down onto FY, but FY will survive. Seb pots the BKB. He'll try and stand his ground, but Seb, he's going to go down. No buyback on the axe. As Jerax as well, surrounded by PSG LGD. The Eon disc will proc, but they'll fight through it.
He has to buy back immediately.
Look at these creep track by these 4 spirits. On the bottom room, they have no creeps in the mid lane.
Sienna still holding on to that buyback on Jerax. But as Ben said, the creeps aren't here.
It's backdoor. Can they breach through it? It's not looking like it right now. Maybe everyone hitting the same one.
That creep cutting isn't enough to hold OG in the game.
You see No Tail's already running to just, he doesn't care. He's going to throw his life for this. He needs to just keep these creeps out of the base to keep that back door up. He doesn't care if he dies.
Which he certainly will as they get upon him. They find his life. 1 minute now without No Tail and without Seb. Topson, Ana, and Jerax. The only 3 heroes that can offer their defense during this final minute, this final stand.
Jerax is really trying to hold on to his buyback.
As Chalice split of course up once again. They're finishing off this second set of racks. He's got the Cyclone holding Ana up in the skies. As this rack's on the top lane will fall, the melee rack's gone. PSG LGD playing this carefully. As they'll go down towards the bottom as well. Arme, doppelgangers, he's losing a fair bit of mana into the PL. Still able to shift back into that Morphling if needs be. As OG, they will lose their top racks, but they won't lose the game. PSG LGD are playing it safe. They know how close they are to victory, and they will not throw it away.
And they know that the Roche is probably respawning pretty soon, and it actually is up, so that is that refresher shard. They already have pretty much infinite primal splits up anyway, but they feel very confident here.
They weren't able to de-ward that ward in the mid lane, so it looks like they are going for a Roche fake out.
Check. Ana is on top of X-Nova. The Ghost Step's going to be the set. He's in. The call, the MP, the cannon, and F4 is in. He's able to get the save off in time to keep this man alive. Get it off. Chalice is down. Buyback from X-Nova and Chalice. FY with the Invis. Somnus looking to get involved. Pots the BKB to get over the ice roll. They get on top of Seb. Seb's in trouble. Seb's gone. The axe down once again for 90 seconds. As now FY giving them the vision, but they see him. Got the doppelganger to jump away from the snowball over to Topson, the self-fuels. FY trying to buy time for the rest of LGD to come in. Again, up into the air. Arme straight on top of No Tail. FY will fall. Arme looking towards No Tail. No Tail puts the hand of God, but No Tail beaten down by Arme and Somnus. Chalice gets the primal split off as Ana. He's been left behind in Topson. He's got to do something incredible in terms of the combo. Can he find the angle? Jerax coming in, keeping Ana alive. Ana with the doppelganger. The Deafening Blast comes out onto the 2 of them. Ana trying to go in, looking for the kill. Can he find it in time onto X-Nova? He's on top of him, trying to beat him down. Ana again with the doppelganger, now retreating back towards the base. As X-Nova will survive. Jerax back in, the combo. Meatball down onto Chalice, but Chalice is so tanky. Boss the Shiva's gone. He's on top of Jerax. Jerax is gone. Ana as well. Can he really fight back against the Somnus? And X-Nova are so low. As the buyback for Jerax comes in, he's healing Ana back up. That buyback could set them up for the kill on X-Nova. The cold snap down onto the charge, and they find him. Arme, he's out of mana. He's starting to shift into the strength, but he's surrounded. OG, can they find the ball? They can! OG are still in the game. Arme buys back immediately. But now it's PSG LGD's turn to be without 2 of their supports. Seb's going to be back up in 8 seconds.
Oh my god, that buyback from Jerax onto that shrine, being able to save Ana, but Ana also toying with them with that doppel. He sent the illusion. They thought that was the real one. They actually couldn't finish him off, even though they got the thirst vision of him for a second.
With the level 25 talent on the doppelganger, it's really hard to kill him.
Seb.
Yeah.
He's looking straight for the play. Can he find Somnus? He's hunting. Somnus. He's there, Seb. He'll see him. Oh! Doesn't get the call though, and now Seb. He'll be ruptured. They're looking at him, but Ana, he's straight in on top of Somnus. Somnus puts the BKB. Ana again with the double down. They see Cataclysm coming out. And Somnus still alive. Ana will be able to force him away. They've got the head. They've got the control. They're on top of him. Can they kill him in time? They can. Chalice got for 2 minutes. And Seb, he's finding, looking for Arme. Big Daddy No Tail gets the penitence out. Only onto the illusion though. Arme able to waveform up to the high ground. As Arme should be fine here.
Topson's got the ghost, he's got Hex up soon too.
Oh, the doppelganger Arme's over the trees. Can he hide his way out of this?
No, back. Real one.
Goes for the waveform. Seb tries for the call, but he's already out of there. Nice play from Arme.
And he buys so much time too for his team there. The Brewmaster was dead for 120 seconds, now only 90.
Still a big window for OG. They're only without Jerax for the same amount of time. And that lead that PSG LGD had, it is going down a little bit. Only 4K, 5K at the moment with these last few fights. Obviously the 25 is now coming out on OG. Topson's into the pit.
What a timely DD coming out for him too. I don't think they expected to be taken out as fast. He's almost able to solo it with the help of these summons. And that's a refreshment.
That
There's no way to get this. There's no way LGD can.
Oh, and the Sev level 25 too. That extra Berserker's Call AoE. It catches people out. They don't expect it.
It does not feel like OG T-Rex now. At
Yeah. The Berserker's Call now is, I mean, the AoE
It's
is
massive.
really massive now when you have that talent.
It's so hard to play against. Can PSG LGD do it? They've got the Basher now for Somnus. For just a 2K lead with those last big comeback plays from OG. Still 30 seconds without Chalice.
double Hex coming out now. Thompson and these 5-second BKBs. Yeah, I mean, they were crushing with their
Why?
BKBs.
Being spotted
He's
out.
got the vision. They're on top of it. Thompson, he's in trouble. The Nullify comes out, but he got the Ghost Walk off as well as the Hex in time. Now, Somnus turns out, the blood runs down. Thompson! He's dead for 100. Has got the buyback available. PSG LGD will certainly look to force it out of them.
FY just what a Shadow
smash.
Blade. It just, yeah, as soon as they split up, he finds the perfect opportunity there on Thompson.
You got to be careful going out on the map when FY's alive. There's every chance in the world that he's going to be watching you from the trees.
And at this point, I think for Ame, it's actually going to be very worth it for him to actually just try and burn all the mana from the Phantom Lancer so he can't doppelganger all the time. That's causing huge issues in the team fights. And I see that.
Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. Dire team ban.
Yeah, that's ouch. Yeah. Yeah.
Radiant team ban.
I mean, it's
Dire team pick.
for sure, right? Like that's not something any of us should tolerate. We've seen such reactions before from Southeast Asia and from CIS. If you remember those situations when it happened, it's a strong response. I think the one thing to be sad about, and you think about the history behind Newbie as an org, it's just so sad to think about what has happened since their heydays, right? Like the times certainly have changed. Oh yeah.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds Radiant remaining. Team pick. Dire.
Nah. Yeah.
10 seconds remaining. Dire team back.
Nah. Yeah, it's a completely selfless kind of hero to throw out, even on the safe lane. Like the moment Chuan hit 6, he was all over the map. It really didn't matter. There were some key timing mistakes from IG, especially with a Terrorblade. So they were limited in moments when they could fight, and that played a big effect. Like after Aster lost the fight, they just come back in because they know Metamorphosis wouldn't be up. So that's something IG has to consider in their draft. They do start a bit stronger now. Like, you see the Rubik Centaur coming out from them. That's a very safe opening we see a lot of teams go into. You've got a solid laning combination if you go for that. You've got a lot of utility from the Rubik, a lot of good spells to steal now as well with Grimstroke and Pango, although you don't have ways to keep the Pangolier still when he does get the Rolling Thunder off. But with the Centaur, you can kind of run away from it. So it's a stronger opening from IG. They're not constrained to their supports as well. That's something that they let out very early on in their draft, which really did hurt them. So it's a much better start for them right now.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
What?
Yeah, they've got to kind of find a way to maximize that Pangolier now. It is going to be tough. Like the Bane, as you mentioned, is a great pickup for that. I think the Grimstroke Pango pickups, though, are still fairly potent, and it should still get a lot of work done. Although, again, you're just not seeing that big effect there coming in. And I didn't notice, but there was a lot of chat between from Aster regarding connection issues a while ago, so that would explain that pause. Although it's Kaka who actually connects anyway.
Radiant team picked.
Oh, okay. That looks to be a support Abaddon. I think we've seen that like once or twice now, haven't we? Like, I think we saw it like a couple of days ago, if it is that support Abaddon. So there is potency there. It still does kind of give you presence, and of course the sustain is still great. It's just you don't have the free reset anymore. Of course, if it's the support Pangolier, that's something Aster could look into as well with the Abaddon on core roll. Either way, there is some flexibility there for Aster now, and that's certainly something they can make work quite well. It doesn't quite synergize with the draft though. Like there's no direct synergy here. I guess the key thing is to have the Abaddon purge for whatever the Bane wants to do. So you're gonna have the shield to take off all the control the Bane brings, and this does give the Pangolier a lot more leeway to maximize his Rolling Thunder.
Dire team pick.
Oh. Oh my.
Hmm.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's a great pickup in that sense. The timings are much earlier. I do worry about the kiteability of the hero. Granted, there's only really the Grimstroke right now to keep him on control, but the Pangolier can kind of dance around him as well. The Abaddon's probably your easiest bet, and you will manage to pump out a lot of stacks on him, even if he does pop his ult. So that's a great way of dealing with that. Here, I just worry about the rest of Aster's pickups. What? Okay.
10 seconds.
It's super slow, and as long as they don't constrain themselves to any other timer here, you're gonna be fine as Aster. Like, if we don't see a last pick DP, then I'd feel a little bit more confident in that Terrorblade. As you mentioned, it's pretty darn good against Ursa. You do have to worry somewhat for the damage coming out from the Bane, especially in the laning phase. The Bane's damage is going to be really strong against your HP pool, which is basically not there for a hero like this. So the Bane can punish that. Even the Centaur can kind of punish that with Double Edge. Those are a couple of things for the TB to watch out for. You have to maximize that Metamorphosis. Beyond that, I think once you ride through a bit of the earlier phase of the game, like perhaps the first 15 to 20 minutes are going to be not the best for the Terrorblade. Beyond that point, he can start to pick up as long as his farm is stable and up there. That's when you can really start to shine in the Terrorblade, which is a lot of time. Like, the Ursa is going to be ready before then. So IG has a very wide window to play around their lineup. They've got to maximize their teamfight potential, maximize that single target lockdown they have with the Bane, and the burst damage they have with the Ursa to really take over and force Aster into game 3 if they want to.
Yeah.
Dire team pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Not with the Terrorblade. No, I think that's basically 0% for us every time we've seen Terrorblade and DP together. It's basically been 0% because of it's just the timing. Like that, it reminds me of like a really old meta, but they bring out the Invoker, so it is a bit of a treat. We get to see the Invoker down mid, just to show Emo how the hero works, I suppose. That's really brave of Aster, because we all know Emo's a fantastic, so they do pick it up for themselves here. What will IG give for their mid? A lot of ways to counteract that, and of course I'm sure Emo understands how far you can push, so he knows its holes as well, and shouldn't have too much of an issue laning up against it. But I like this from Aster, because it plays into what the other 4 heroes want to do. They can buy time for the Terrorblade. The response from IG with the OD though, that's solid. Like, it's not the easiest time for the Invoker to lane against. It's a really good response to the Terrorblade. IG definitely looking a bit better here with their game 2 draft.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that is such an ancient rare set, dang. Ooh. It's a classic. It's a classic thing taken out from the store for breaching visual guidelines, and well, there are certainly much more visually distracting sets now, so it's actually tame. Compare that to everyone else with all the particle effects. That Ursa's not so bad. Yeah, it broke the, well, not silhouette, it broke the teaming of the hero, if I recall right. That's when Valve was a lot stricter. Yeah, when they were a lot stricter with cosmetics. It was one of the first cosmetic sets. And if I recall right, the Alpine Ursa set was taken out. After a while, that's what... Hey, don't tell me, you know, that was the decisions Valve made a long time ago. And like, this is really mild in comparison to what you see on screen right now. Like, Ursa with a cowboy hat is nothing in comparison to what you see nowadays.
Prepare for battle.
Yeah, it is going to be Baboka on the support Abaddon, as we have seen a couple of times. So XXS is in the core Pango. The Abaddon can still work, and I have to say this fire is really distracting. It doesn't even emanate. Like, the particle effects don't properly emanate from his body, so it's just kind of there. I actually have no clue. I don't think I've ever seen a burning Abaddon. I think that might be one of those effects you get from like the TI Battle Pass stuff. I don't know. You tend to see some of those weird particle effects, and it's always like a player from these Chinese teams. They tend to always have those rare drops.
The battle begins.
Oh, Baboka gonna try to check for a Obs Ward again. He's done this a couple of times, but get the hit off and doesn't have the sentry to get that early D Ward this time around.
What?
Yeah. There is certainly a limit to what you can expect from the support Abaddon. Like, the sustain and the purge is going to be great. The added durability for SECC is going to be great. It's just, it boils down to the Terrorblade having to play around meta. So that's a 40-second duration, level 1. There's a lot of downtime that JT and Haka can abuse. They've got the simple lift stun combination once you hit level 2 as well. Yeah, it's gonna give them so much more on this Ursa. Definitely the hero you want to get kick-started early, and if Fly gets that really strong start, we have seen Ursas really set the pace of the game.
Dire's courier has been killed.
Like,
Yeah, it's really one of the ways you can work that out. I think as the game scales, there is that worry for Chuan, as you mentioned, but there's one very big thing they can get done. Alacrity on SCCC. I think that's really your best bet for presence. just beefing up your Terrorblade, having him hit like a truck under Metamorphosis just to maximize that damage output. It can be quite potent. The issue is, of course, the timer. Not much time in Metamorphosis, so just how much that will sway the game, well, I guess we'll find out as it goes on. Yeah, all things considered, like his farm is actually not too bad. SCCC is still at top of last hits, so despite the pressure they're receiving from JT, Bo3 has been doing a fantastic job of keeping that Terrorblade in lane. Yeah, and Bo3 is the kind of player who does kind of not prioritize the farm anyway, so he's working that quite well. I think SCCC's presence is definitely going to hurt. Like, he is finding even more farm than fly, so that's really not what you want to see for the Terrorblade, if you're playing against it.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's a tricky lane. It's not quite easy to win out, although top lane is really just a struggle for IG. JT now, just under so much pressure.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I mean, it's a game of trades for IG, right? Like, they're sacrificing their top lane, but they're giving their Ursa as free of a start as they could hope for. Now, the farm situation we talked about, Ursa does benefit from this earlier farm much more. Like, even if the Terrorblade, say, finds an early Yasha, he's not going to be ready to fight, but an Ursa with an early Mask, an early Blink, or a fast Basher is certainly much more terrifying at the 15-minute mark. Oh? Juan? Ooh. Oh.
Invoker, your ego is as big as the crater I leave.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
That's really important for IG though. They are slowing down the Invoker, they're finding the kills in the side lanes, they're forcing out support rotations which open up the map for them, and it does feel like IG has taken control of the driver's seat right now. They are the ones forcing the response from Aster, they're the ones forcing out the kills, and Aster's forced to play response. When Chuan gets his boots and earn up, you might see that change just a bit for the mid lane, but before then, you know, Chuan has to be protected like this.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah. Yeah, this does buy some space for Bo3 to keep soaking that lane. As you mentioned, they did TP and fade for that. So again, you're leaving your bot lane vulnerable. There could be potential mid lane rotations from IG to punish that lack of a TP. I mean, even if Bo3 has a TP on himself, it's an Abaddon. Like, he drops shield, and that could be nice. Really doesn't do too much in actually saving Chuan. He's just so vulnerable. UNT for IG, although they're just going to be perfectly fine farming up. Like, Fly has a free lane. XXS basically can't do anything at this point. He's go- Oh no.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh. Yeah, they've got level 6 on their Bane as well, so Ollie does have the grip. It should be a straightforward kill if they really decide to, and they do wrap around.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh boy.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, that's certainly giving a lot more towards IG. They have managed to basically get everything they want on the map. They've taken control of the pace of game. They have really kept SCCC in check this game compared to game 1. Like, the Morphling had a pretty free run last time. This time SCCC is facing constant pressure in the jungle. There are some nice aggressive wards from IG to allow this as well, especially in that bot area. So SCCC has to be extremely careful there while he farms in this area, and IG are just set to really start to build up. Like, Fly's timing and Battle Fury is going to be really good. Like, he's just about 700 gold away from finishing it up, so his farm suddenly flies up and really accelerates, which, considering that he's ahead already, does mean it's just going to get considerably worse for Aster, and they need to start kind of plugging in the holes in this draft.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire are scanning. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
No, he's down. He's out of earn charges as well. They haven't found the most kills on Aster's side. So he's not going to have that for the next engagement. No charge to keep that cold snap up and running consistently. And that could hurt them if they are trying to look for kills.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
Yeah, the one. I am still kind of worried about it. Like, this does mean they're not going to be... There is going to be a moment where, say, you see one item from SCCC come out beyond the Manta, and because of the Battle Fury, you're kind of delayed on fly. Like, yeah, he's going to be farming up. You still see a little bit more farm in SCCC anyway. If you did get a Basher and just kind of force it in, like, there's no way Fly doesn't find a kill every single time, although... Oh.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Possible. By whose hand?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's no, it's not the best setup for the Terrorblade. Again, it takes a lot of cooking on the hero to get him up and running, and IG understand that. They've got a 5k lead, they've got really good vision. This ward behind the tier 1 definitely helped them to secure those kills, and it's just such a cleaner game from IG in terms of their execution. They're certainly finding a lot more on Boboka. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty lucky for IG that none of those big spells did connect, and Aster can't really find the objectives, so they have to pull back, just split up the farm. You have SCC up on top lane, farming up once more. It isn't the safest spot. They do have they don't really have TP points, they don't even have their own outpost, so this is a risky area for SCCC. There's a nice forward ward from IG as well, so gotta watch out if he does dip in that lane.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
No. Yeah, he's been keeping up in farm really well. It's not quite there with the Terrorblade farm, but he has been a bit more active. So you're still not finding solutions there.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah,
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
yeah, but now you see IG is just playing super confidently, much more far forward. You definitely need someone from Aster to kind of cop the gank there, you know?
Precious bundle.
Okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's it does leave him super vulnerable, but you have to remember that there are pieces of control that pierces that BKB, so I can understand that. And it's not like he wants to fight right now anyway. It's like, you get the BKB, sure, but you're not going to be joining these early fights, and if you get caught out and pop the BKB, that's not going to help you. So I can understand why you'd skip it until you're closer to fighting form, which you're really not just yet in Terrorblade. And you look at IG, Fly actually does have a BKB. He's been playing much more forward, and Aster doesn't quite have anything to pierce through that BKB. So it's a lot more valuable for Fly. It should allow him to just stand in front, right-click off, ignore all the spells that the Invoker throws out, and just basically take control in these fights.
I was meant to have this.
Maybe he really just wants to prioritize his mana pool and the cost reduction. Like, yeah, it's like that's basically the way OD kind of works with calculating his Santies now. It's from that mana charge. So I guess that's really what they're looking for, maximizing the damage output from that in that way. There are other items that give you a little bit more, and oh, wow, face just 3 hits.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
They've got one. Oh. Chuan. Oh, that was that. Yeah, I think it would have been worthwhile. Like, just finding that kill onto Chuan once more would have slowed down the pace of the Invoker. It's not like he's worth much money though. Like, he's so severely behind. He's at 6.6k, matching XXS, which is not a good spot for the Invoker. Even if he has tools to kind of get started, he's level 12. Way too far behind in terms of EXP.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, definitely. It's look, even with the BKB, I don't think the Terrorblade can fight anyway. That's the key point here for Aster. Like, they just can't do anything with that line. You might as well get something that gives him a little bit more damage if he can play greedy, but the BKB is just not going to save him. And it's down to this lineup. Aster has fallen way too far behind with all of these heroes. Chuan's presence has been non-existent, basically, on this Invoker. Like, he goes around, he drops charges, gets the cold snap, and nothing happens. They need to find a way to find easy pickoffs. Their lineup doesn't really allow that. Like, they've gotten Abaddon and a Grimstroke and a Pangolier. There's nothing squishy enough for them to burst down. Maybe if they wanted to hunt Ollie and Kaka, but they're not worth too much gold. You want some of the cores, except Ursa's tanky, JT's tanky, although they'll try. Oh man. It's
Bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower.
they need to get a perfect fight somehow, and they don't have the best synergy. I'm surprised that Kaka managed to steal the soul mine. That's a major loss for Aster. It's much more effective on Kaka against Aster than it is for Aster offensively, so they're probably still gonna have that tool available if Kaka wanted to hold on and not try to spell steal. They lose their last outer tower as well. And Aster's defense is really down to this. The Invoker spamming spells out and SCCC kind of spamming reflection out. That's it in terms of high ground defense. They can make that work, but you're not in a position with SCCC to really fight yet. He's saving up for his BKB now. So with a BKB, with a Scotty and a Manta, perhaps you can stand and fight. The prospects don't seem that great though. Like, you will stop a lot of the damage coming out from Emo,
Has been killed.
and you will be able to stand there and kind of try to focus the Ursa, but it just, she has way too much to play with. Like, you look at Emo right now. Yeah, no contestation. Aster just can't fight back. They could scout threat from Chuan. Not like that will help them really do anything there. You have the BKB coming out on SCCC. So again, he's going to have that tool for the high ground defense at the very least, but 2 lives on Emo, cheese on Fly. You are really going to be hard pressed to turn this fight in your favor. Nah, really well played from IG after a very shaky game 1. They look so much more dominant here in game 2, and Aster are forced into game 3. Perhaps heavily reconsider that rep.
FY, he's found himself No-Tail out on his own.
He's trapped him.
There's No-Tail. Is he going to get any sort of backup? No, he's not. There's 3 still dead on OG. It'll be a slow and painful death here for No-Tail as Ame comes in for the kill secure.
And I love the way that Chalice popped his BKB super early in that fight. He says, I just need to get my ulti off. And he cast it at a very safe range. He didn't wait for the last second of his BKB. He's not very greedy. And I think that's a lot of the reason why they've been winning these team fights. Seb has been struggling, still about 1,000 gold away from his BKB.
I mean, yeah, this Brewmaster is a display of perfection, really. It's the highest level in the game with his Bloodseekers.
And doing a ton of damage. One of the most damage in the game as an offlaner.
Now has full Shiva, so even more ways. He's pretty much itemized entirely just to be like, Ana, I'm ruining your game. I've got Radiance, I've got Shivas. You're going to struggle so much in these fights as Phantom Lancer.
Eric's did his best to keep Ana alive, and but Ana wasn't able to do damage because he was ruptured. He wasn't that low on HP, but still can't run around.
Seb.
Oh, I'm just ninjas here.
Got to be careful who shows up top. Indeed, Jerax. He's going out on his own. He doesn't expect Ame to have this invis route. As Ame will show himself. Jerax goes across, but Somnus is there.
Somnus is not messing without rupturing.
No mercy. They're feeling very confident now at this point, getting these very advantageous team fights as well as getting kills on the split push too. Thompson though, we'll find X-Nova.
Seb, and as well, between the two of them, they'll take down the support edge. FY's going to come in though. He hasn't got anyone else with him at the moment. It is just FY, so just playing around with Seb.
He has no help around at all, and he's still just making Seb's life miserable.
He's toying with him. He's just making him not be able to come back. Look, they're already starting to rotate this Brewmaster and Bloodseeker too, and FY, he's ready to look for Seb.
Seb's got to get out.
Oh, Seb.
As indeed, FY, the patience, keeping that control on Seb, buying time for Chalice to come in. Ana is going to look towards the Tusk. Chalice is now there, does have Primal Split available if he wants to look to take this fight. Somnus coming in as well. As Ana, Seb look to hide in the trees. Can they get out of it? Ana's got a TP available. He's into the trees. He's going to show himself in the lane though. They're going to continue to head over. They are going to see Seb make it out in time. They don't have a stun. Ana, can he get out as well? He can. OG will avoid that rotation from PSG LGD.
FY is just so obnoxious there, following Seb for over a minute, just stalking him, trying to have his team come over.
So that's about, a minute without Aegis being used for LGD. They have 2 minutes left, I would say, to capitalize on this Aegis. Oh man, looks like he is level the PL.
Pretty much back to a 50-50. PSG LGD 2-1 up at the moment in this best of 5 grand finals. 1 game needed to secure the championship title. And at this point, they are ahead here in game 4.
No-Tail hasn't had time to gather a full army of Ancient Creeks. Right now, he just has the Ancient Black Dragon. You really want those other auras when you're at a big disadvantage in these team fights already.
Yeah, it's tough though, because Jerax doesn't want to be following around his Chen, giving him the agony. So. As Thompson, he does have a Lincoln Sphere picked up, and they should have the BKB finished on Seb too. So that'll give him a little bit easier time to get those blink calls as he's been suffering to do so in the last few fights. And Somnus, I've Scotty picked up, about to be level 25 as well.
Yeah, they just need a couple more minutes on the side of OG before they're ready to fight. Wait for the Aegis to expire.
Seb, he's in. Gets the call, the characters, but again, FY there with the snowball save. He's going to be fine, and now they turn to look towards the axe. The taunt's going to be out. Seb goes for the TP. They've got the stun to cancel though. Seb held back for now. Thompson trying to offer his best from the side to provide some sort of safety, as he will get Seb back. They're able to get Seb back to safety, and Thompson, he's running away. X-Nova's there with the wraparound, gets the slow off, gives the vision for the snowball. TP from No-Tail's coming in towards the stride, but Thompson, he's trapped.
That's twice in this series that X-Nova just comes out of nowhere. Like, he's just on a warding expedition, then he just ends up wrapping behind these people constantly.
Perfect time.
Perfect timing, and has the Centaur creep to boot. And look at these deep wards that he's placed during that time that he was running around doing so. He now has full vision of OG. Yeah, he sees Ana farming these Ancients right now.
Oh, Ana. FY just giving so much information for the team. He's got eyes on him. Get the punch on the wrong target, but the snowball pass will catch Ana. Ana, he's in trouble. The Blood Bright Silence connects. He's got the Manta back up in a second, but can he really play his way out of this one? He cannot. Ana down for a minute and a half.
Just having all this vision. I mean, X-Nova throughout this whole tournament has had the best vision in every situation, even when you wouldn't expect it. They're just like, oh, they're fighting on the left side. They're not gonna have vision over here. But no, X-Nova always seems to have those prepared in every situation.
And he has some incredible foresight to be able to have these wars that just lead to really clutch pickoffs. And Axe has not spent his money on BKB. He has the money, but he might be looking to save for buyback.
We'll see if any of the buybacks do get forced out. Thompson's still dead for 15. Ideally, he doesn't buy back it. They may have to buy back on Ana. He's gone for 50 seconds. The split coming out from Chalice. He's ready to push in, look for the stun on No-Tail to hold back the Chen as the mid-racks are exposed. PSG LGD, 40 minutes in, able to open into the base and clean out this mid lane of Rack. Still Ana holding on to that buyback.
And they're gonna keep going here. They really want to force this PL to come back here.
Stun onto Thompson. He will blink dodge it. But another tier 3 tower falling incredibly fast. They really don't want to use it. Seb jumps in, gets the call onto FY. There's the buyback. The Cataclysm isn't enough to do anything. It isn't. PSG LGD still fighting strong. Thompson getting focused by Somnus. Seb taken down by Arme. The triple buybacks now out as Ana in trouble. He's pulled back for this one. The deafening blast onto the three of them. Knocks them back, but Ana gets focused. Seb! He's in with the call. He has the control onto the morphing Somnus. Now being chased by Thompson. Blinks in with the cold snap. The PL army's on top of it. They get Somnus too. As OG, they have to expend 3 buybacks, but they hold on to the top rack. Somnus now down for 2 minutes. No buyback available on this Bloodseeker.
Yeah, he's 400 gold short of it. It's up in about 8 seconds. OG, they have to make so much happen here. They have to push out all their lanes. 2 of the side lanes are already going, but I think trying to get some kills here, like on FY here, would be very ideal.
I mean, look how close to Brew is at 25. I mean,
So close.
With that primal split cooldown.
Oh, Thompson, he sees it FY. He's used the snowball, he turns with the combo FY with the self-fuels, but OG, they've surrounded him. Seb jumps in with the call, the blade mail, FY's gone.
Instant buyback from FY.
Still that scary, scary time for LGD. 75 seconds without Somnus. OG have the full 5-man pushing in all 3 lanes at the same time as they approach LGD's base.
I don't even know if I get the edge for this team fight. The LGD are goal, but no blood take up to 60 seconds. This could be disastrous.
He's got a full BKB on Seb as well.
Chalice really wants to hit level 25 before he pops that primal split. So close.
Just got to be careful, Seb. Looking for that blink initiation.
Chalice is stepping back. Grabs it. They give him the tome. He needed like 5 experience, and they gave him the tome just to make sure that he gets it anyway. Just playing as safe as possible here.
Looks like OG don't feel that the window is big enough for them to push in whilst this Bloodseeker's still dead. They'll back away.
They can't count. They bought back 3 heroes. They weren't able to get any T3s, and there's no Roshan up yet. Big Daddy No-Tail's praying for a Rosh right now so they can get that refresher, but
Top shrine.
it's not going to be out. And maybe we'll dodge a bullet.
At least they got a good amount of economy off that, right?
Yep.
It was up to a 15k gold advantage, and they chunked it down to 7. Same thing with experience. So they did get quite a lot out of that one, but they ideally wanted to get at least one of those sets of racks to get some momentum pushing in with those 3 buybacks used.
Absolutely, it is this really scary moment of the game now for OG. We're about 5-6 minutes still without those buybacks available. If PSG LGD can find that one team fight, it could be the team fight to win TI in this window of time that they now have presented to themselves.
Ana's gone full in for that butterfly too. As they pick up also an Aeon disc on Jeremy, so protected in O. DD did spawn, however, was killed.
It's also pretty scary for Maybe right now. He only has a 5-second BKB, and he does a lot of damage and will get wrecked by the X Blade Mail call if he finds it, especially with his BKB now. There's not that many ways to stop him.
It's just all about FY and Chalice, right? Just either saving or just getting into the midst of the fights and not allowing OG to get the picks.
And the smoke, it's going to be dispelled.
Let's get dispelled. But
He's in the trees, they're on the high ground, they've got the vision with the Shiva's covered, Anna's on his way over. They've got the snowball down, there's the Catapult, Seb jumps in, he's able to find the call onto Chalice, but Chalice already got the BKB out. The Sunstride's going to be down onto FY, but FY will survive. Seb pots the BKB, he'll try and stand his ground, but Seb, he's going to go down. No buyback on the Axe. As Jerax as well, surrounded by PSG LGD. The Eon disc will proc, but they'll fight through it.
he has to buy back immediately.
Look at these creep track by these Force Spirits. On the bottom rune, they have no creeps in the mid lane.
And team ban. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for our Game 3 draft between Team Aster and Invictus Gaming. It is an RP Dota and Donix Fire. John, we're into a game number 3, which it feels like I haven't said in a while now. A lot of series going 2-0 over the past couple of days. You think that's
Team ban.
Oh yeah, definitely are. It's been a while since we've reached this point, and it was a really strong turnaround from IG in game number 2. It definitely felt like something shook them up, something woke them up, and they brought their A game. So looking forward to see them continue that pace. Aster, hopefully enough, also get shaken up. It was really a stark difference there in game number 2 compared to how they were in game 1. So looking to see them bring back some of that energy we saw in game 1, some of that same drafting style and aggression. Perhaps see a bit of a drift away from Terrorblade from both sides. That's going to be key. If both sides don't pick the Terrorblade, I think we'd have a much more even game on our hands.
hopefully.
5 seconds remaining.
It's the one thing that I get a little bit concerned about these games. The one common denominator in both losses throughout this series is the Terrorblade team, and so they will go back to the Pangolier. So I don't think it was XXS's fault that they lost that matchup. I think the draft in general just wasn't to the caliber it needed to be up against what IG was running. And IG, hopefully, John, have come to the conclusion that they probably should be running some very early game orientated sort of lineups and not these later stage high cooldown drafts that we've been seeing coming out for a while now.
Dire team pick.
Yeah, it's hopefully they've had a lot more success. I like the opening counter, Grimstroke for the Pangolier, of course. You saw issues with XXS getting off the Rolling Thunder. He's gonna have those same issues here. Soulbind is super effective in keeping the Pangolier in place, so IG should have the tools needed to at least prevent that from coming out from Aster.
Seconds remaining. Radiant team pick.
Ember Spirit.
IG for the Ember, pretty standard combo. IG got a very, very strong opening for themselves. Not only countering that Pango, but having the Grimstroke Ember combination. Very, very nice indeed. So probably just going to go for a support pick now for their second pick, but I wonder what they will go down. You've got that Lich available if that's what you want. Still Oracle available. Let them go for.
Yeah, I think that's a lot more solid for the Pangolier. Like, you have a lot more saving graces here for Aster's side. You have some ways of keeping the Ember Spirit in place a bit better with that strong root. You have ways of having great presence with the raw damage the Oracle can provide. So it does give a lot more for Aster to play with. This also opens up certain core pickups. Say the Troll is definitely an option for Aster if they want to fall back to that, and we haven't seen as much of it as of late, but it's still a strong here to have if you wanted it, and the Oracle certainly enables it to stand in front and just fight freely.
5 seconds remaining.
Beastmaster banned from Aster. Fairly standard stuff. You don't really want the Beastmaster to go along with the Grimstroke. So it wouldn't go along well for Aster if they did go like down the Troll route with this Oracle that we do tend to see a lot. In fact, I wonder if they do go ahead and just pick up a Troll for SCCC this game. See the Morphling getting banned again. So they respect the Morphling here against the other side of Aster, which is fair enough because SCCC was huge on that first game Morphling. IG now.
10 seconds remaining.
Haven't revealed too much yet.
5 seconds remaining.
We do see a bit more in this third pick. More the POS 4 pickup, unless they're going to run the POS 4 Ember. But seeing coming out.
It's a possibility, but I don't think you'd want to do that with a Grimstroke. It just feels like you want to get a little bit more from your Ember here. It's fairly safe, right? Like, you don't need to worry about getting your Ember Spirit shafted here. The Oracle may be nice, but it's not the most consistent lockdown in the world. Up against the Ember, the Pangolier is not the biggest issue as well. So I think you do still have that leeway to just have the Ember core in this case for IG. Nothing really too pertinent to swap it out around for just yet.
A lot of reserve time, just trying to make the pick up.
Team pick.
Oh.
Alright, back to the Rubik, and you know, you can't blame him for that, right? Like, there's already so much to steal here. Rolling Thunder was already enough, but they've got an Oracle with False Promise.
Oh.
And Aster, surprisingly enough, going to the Shaman.
Ooh, I like it. It's a great piece of control for the Ember Spirit. So you've got that Hex, you've got the Shackles to follow up with. That is one very effective way of keeping that hero in place. And of course, it is going to be a core Ember simply because you've already picked up the Rubik. So that's something to keep in mind now for IG. With his Shadow Shaman, of course, Aster does have some really strong push potential coming out. As long as you hit that level 6 mark on the Shadow Shaman, he's going to be able to drop the wards, pull back, get a safe shove in for your team, and Aster can still kind of build around that. It is going to be tougher because you don't have the Beastmaster. That would have been the safer bet, but Aster banned that out themselves. They could look into something like the Pugna coming into play if they want to build off the Shaman pickup. We have seen Pugna into Ember a couple of times, and it can be a bit tough in the laning phase, especially if the Ember decides to just kind of play aggressively. But if you do focus on the decrep, then Ember just can't come up to last hit. So that's something you can play around with for Aster as your mid. I think the push potential is really what you want to build up.
Phantom Lancer.
YG going to the PL now. I do like what I'm seeing. You really don't have any real way of dealing with the PL apart from maybe the Pangolier, but it's not great. Aster. I don't really know what you do here. Like, IG just seemed to be quite ahead in terms of draft.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, it's looking a lot better with that Phantom Lancer. You'll need a way to counteract that. There are a couple of core pickups there. You could maybe opt for the Medusa. That can be a really big toss-up though. Like, early on, a Phantom Lancer is going to melt right through your mana. You're not going to be able to play around that. At some point, you can kind of stand and fight, but it is kind of a 50-50 depending on the timings. The Naga Siren would have been safer, but IG did ban that out themselves, so you don't have that option now. And Aster responds with a left rack, so that is one of the more common responses we see. It does play in nicely with a Shadow Shaman push potential as well. So you have some decent synergy going on here. You have great burn to help you melt through the PL up to a certain point, and that should play nicely into how much of a unified power spike you see from Aster. None of these heroes take particularly long to come online, and I think that plays nicely to this smooth power curve, whereas IG, you will have to wait a bit for the PL. You have to give him space to get the Diffusal plus the Manta style, and then by then you could maybe join in. The tendency we see is to wait for another item pickup before you really go wild.
We see the final banner now. The Void from IG being removed in Aster. What pos one do you go for here? If your left track fails in securing farm and setting a pace on the game, IG is certainly just going to run over you if you don't have another answer to this PL.
5 seconds remaining.
I mean, the Void would have been pretty nice. You could still ask to go down that troll route, but it's not great up against the PL.
Nah, certainly not. Like, you could make an argument for the Battle Fury build. Again, it always kind of feels lackluster when you're forced to Battle Fury just for the Phantom Lancer. Although, the troll does get value for it from farming anyway, so it's kind of just a side benefit that you can just peel illusions in that way. It's really not the best response, although it is still feasible. Like, a lot of teams still go into that.
We're having a big think about this final ban now. IG still require a JT hero. So kind of hard to ban JT heroes, as he does tend to have a pretty wide pool.
And you've got the Rubik around though. Like, you could consider Scent ban out. That dual lane is kind of potent, although we didn't see the greatest effect of it last game, but it is just super potent when you have a Rubik Scent. Something that can really mess with Aster as well. They don't really have the best chase for the Stampede disengage. That's something that could cause issues. They banned the Timberspawn instead though.
Interesting ban. Seems like there was already a lot to in the form of Aster's draft. You already had the Purge for the reactive armor, you had the Track, you had the Hex and Jackal from Shaman. Maybe they go back to the LC here. Like, they do seem to require some kind of tanky front line on the side of IG.
5 seconds remaining.
Could just ask for the LC, could go for the Sentinel.
I prefer the Centaur, honestly. Like, the LC doesn't really bring you that much value here for IG. It just doesn't feel like there's any real reason to go for it. Like, you're playing against the Oracle, so you have False Promise to worry about anyway, and the Disarm. Not a lot of value for the base.
We
Yeah,
see the
Troll.
come out. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got the Oracle, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great. IG, switch it up. They get the OD, and
So
great effect.
Lane Ember.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Like, he's not going to be the focal point. JT's still probably just going to be looking for EXP. The key thing is that with the OD, you don't have to worry about False Promise or the Troll Berserk. Like, they pop any of these big things. Troll usually waits to be low HP to get that done. Just imprison him. Towards the end of it, he's going to die. You know, he's not going to get anything done in that. It's the classic OD versus Troll, where if you play your cards right, the OD can certainly do a lot more. Of course, there's a point where Troll kind of overtakes. That's really down to the BKB timing. So SCCC might want to prioritize that on the Troll. It's just that when you're also considering the Phantom Lancer here, you need a lot more tools beyond just a BKB Battle Fury to really start to take over.
It's a hard game for Aster. I stick by what I said. I think a lot of the pressure here is really on Tron. As we'll see, understanding he's probably just going to have to chill out and farm for quite a while, but Tron is definitely going to be to set a pace for his team, create this from SCCC that we really didn't see last game. Like, while he got pretty big on the TB, it just wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
But we'll see if he gets done this time. I think the Lutrak is a much better pick in this meta than the Invoker was anyway. So
yeah, it's a much more solid pick. It plays nicely into objectives. That's something Aster was lacking in game one. They couldn't really melt a lot of the objectives fast enough. They always had to drag SCCC in to help them clear out the towers with the Terrorblade, so took away from his farming time. This time they can independently push with Chuan and Fade. So you just need level 6 on the Shadow Shaman, and you have a lot more presence with these 4 heroes than you did in game 1. IG though, super potent, right? Like, even if you're forced to run this offlane Ember on JT, I don't think he minds. He's still going to be able to get a lot of damage out without farm. The key thing is going to be EXP gain for this JT Ember Spirit, and Kaka should be able to get that done. Like, they should be able to at least apply enough pressure to maintain some EXP growth on the offlane.
going to be up still, but now a surround coming in from Aster. Nice slot as well. JT may actually drop very, very quickly, and he tries to go for a slight punch. He will go down to the end, and then Kaka will also be chased down. We'll have a Fortune's End available, and Kaka should also pretty much be getting it. Bit of connect. Yeah, that'll be enough. one final fate, successful secondary kill, but gave the first blood over to Chuan on the left track, and that's going to set a very, very nice precedence for the left track.
Yeah, gives him a little bit of a boost in this mid lane matchup, which isn't going to be the easiest. Like, Emo does take some EXP on the OD to start to really dish it out, but we saw him do fantastic in game number 1. I don't doubt that he should be able to match that performance here. It should just be easier for Chuan. So as the Lush, you're going to have a good time up until level 3, level 4. That's when the Astral Imprisonment spam is a bit easier to pull off for Emo, and that's when he can kind of sustain himself a bit more. Just, it takes a while. It's a slow build up for the OD.
Tell you what, it wasn't last game. Emo had a great old time last time around on the OD, just finding all the farm in the world, and a lot of that farm was just farming heroes. One's going to try and be as disruptive as possible, and he already has quite a few last hits off Emo. See how that goes later on. Of course, top lane we have Fly on the PL. Be up against XXS on the Pangolier, and we'll have the support of Ollie. Spade will be there on the Shaman as well. Hero
Jake's just dead.
Oh, well that's not good. Yeah. The thing is, John, is Fortune Zen purges, so Flame Guard doesn't do anything anyway. S-Triple-C doesn't care for Flame Guard. It just seems like every time he's going to come close for a last hit, he's going to cop a lot of harassment from those ranged axes from S-Triple-C.
Yeah, he needs Kaka around to really help him. Like, you need the presence of that Fade Ball and the threat of the Telekinesis to have a decent shot, but Kaka was focused on getting a big pull, so they should have that nicely between their tier 1 and tier 2 here.
Well, top lane, definitely does go down as well. The Grimstroke, though, he does get an in-swell off before he dies, but now Firefly's in trouble. They won't have any more spells to throw out, so they do back out in time. They'll be fine. You know, I don't mind this double wave pool coming out from Parker. It seems to be quite necessary in this lane matchup of Ember versus Troll anyway, but the problem is while you're getting that pull off, you're kind of susceptible to having your Ember die in that meantime, so...
Yeah, it gives a lot to SCCC. Like, you take a look at him, he's already level 3 on the Troll. He hasn't had too hard of a time just farming here. And now with the pull as well, just gets a little bit more efficiency down for himself.
Kaka, Fortune Zen, gonna fly out onto him, but we know chasing him down. Triple C is all about farming this game. He's actually already got the Diffusal queued up as well, so not going for anything greedy like a Battle Fury. Not yet, anyway. Just gonna try and go for that Diffusal, and I'd have to agree with that, because if you do manage to drain mana of any of these 3 cores, they are all so dead. There's just no way for them to get out without mana. So yeah, I do like the item build up from S-Triple-C.
Yeah, it definitely allows him to play a lot more aggressive early. The key thing is, you will still need a way of isolating Fly, but you already have a Lush, so you don't really have to put too much weight on the Troll to get that done, which does allow him to focus on earlier fighting, which is great. Like, we saw SCCC play the slower game last time, just didn't feel like that's how you want him to play. You've got to have him a bit more active, and he is finding that early farm. We should see a good pace into the phase boots and the Diffusal for that Troll.
Is under attack.
Fade rather, gonna rotate in mid. Thought it was Eho for a second. Trying to go for a kill attempt on the OD. You don't really have much mana anyway. Just gonna secure the power rune. And he does get very lucky with that regen. Chuan will get him all that up for himself. Well, meanwhile, bot lane Kaka was trying to pull again, but Boca will be able to take him out.
This is getting to be a bit worrisome for IG. It's 5-0. Granted, a lot of those kills are on supports, but this means you're laning, and your laning pressure isn't quite there. So again, SCCC pretty much having a free lane. You can say the same thing about top. XXS has had a lot of farm, and Ollie now.
Get him probably on that Grimstroke. Fade already committed the shackles. pressure being applied is just great from Aster. In fact, the Shackles comes out again. Flyfly doesn't actually have a way out of this. XXS, he won't have Swashbuckle, so they won't dive. They will happily take the salve away from Flyfly. 5-minute battery drop anyway, so you may as well go really just get those, but... In fact, Chuan chasing down Emo, trying to steal his bounty rune. Astral will be there, Emo gonna go for TB, and looks like he will make it out in time.
Yeah, just a nice little snatch from Emo, but this top lane is really a major issue for IG. They just can't get the space. Like, Ollie keeps dying. Fly does not have space to farm up. He's at 23, which is not bad. But XXS is definitely having better time at 25, and it doesn't match up to what you see from SCCC. So Fly is somewhat falling behind, and Fade is always happy to get that lockdown in.
Raboka, another fortune send out on Kaka bot lane, but Triple C should not, or maybe he does, he slows him down, but there will be the chains coming out from JT to just ensure that his support doesn't die another time. The Kaka for that bot lane anyway, he's gonna start running down mid. Does find an arcane rune for his core. Now Fade's here on the Shaman, but they won't be able to get an arcane rune in time anyway, so Emo does go and pick it up on the OD. Looks like Fade's just here to perk some XP, while you do see Chuan just going into the jungle and just doing distracting, just pulsing everything down.
Yeah, this is a pretty decent EXP split, although this does mean XXS is exposed top.
He will die. But I just don't think it's about XXS this game. Like, they're more than happy to just ensure the troll Leshrac is doing fine. XXS is going to be able to do his job no matter what farm he gets.
Yeah, and they've already done their job in slowing down Flyfly anyway. The Phantom Lantern's buildup isn't quite as fast as you'd expect. I like the fact that Fade is getting the solo EXP down mid. It just gives him easier access to that level 6, and the wards are super important for the Shadow Shaman. Really key timing for that hero.
Oh, Ollie gets spotted out, and oh no, he doesn't. It was just a blind swashbuckle from XXS, and now lucky shots to fly out. Ingswell's going to be there, but Chuan is there to follow, and Chuan is not being up, so Ollie will go down to the Leshrac. Fly was just running in to secure his the items on his courier, just make sure it doesn't go down. You can already see Aster trying to set up for that top tier 1 tower, and you don't find that same trade at the bot anytime soon. The JT is really struggling. Like 21 last hits in comparison to the 51 and 18 of Bo3, and he's 2 levels behind of the troll right now. It is just really, really bad news for IG.
Yeah, the JT is finding solo EXP though, but that's all you can really hope now from the Super Spirit. Like, he's not gonna be, oh man.
He got the chains off before S-Triple-T could hit him a bit, so mid lane, Emo's been caught out, he needs some help. Pulse Nova from Chuan, Lightning Storm as well. Emo will stick charge up, but they just can't help him. He tries to Astral now, and looks like the Leshrac wants to back off, but Chuan should be able to back. What a sanities! Emo barely being able to get that off, and now Bo3 comes in. What are you doing here, sir?
Look for the cleanup, not quite enough on low HP, and IG does get a little bit more from that trade. Like, they managed to find the kill on Chuan first, so Emo does get a little bit more of EXP. That was just slightly more gold going way of Chuan though. So, and they do find the extra kill on the Shadow Shaman, but Fade TP's top immediately after respawning. He has a 6. They can just go for a tower push now.
Flyfly has to be so careful.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Tree line Fade wants to get that hex off. Blink Thunder's going to be there. Flyfly now spots them out, does go for the double, and he doubles to the left, and just to try and find the right one.
Oh no!
Out with the illusion, and they fall for it, but they do eventually get the right one, and the circle wards are right next to the new one anyway, so they lose nothing.
Yeah, they get a lot of damage out. Look at Chuan with the Diabolic Edict just melting through that tower. It is still gonna fall after that fort, so that's gonna be the first tower of the game going the way of Aster, and that gives them a lot more control. The top lane is now shut out. You're gonna have to try to find a different spot for Flyfly to farm it.
There's not many places left, it seems. Like, he's a PL after all. He doesn't exactly flash farm without some actual farm.
Nah, yeah.
I'm just going to continue forcing this wave in. Like, just be relegated to the jungle, but that's really not what he wants.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, it's a slower time for our PL, and while you could say SCCC's in the jungle, he just farms a little bit more efficiently. He has a lot more gold to play with. Like, he is inching closer towards that diffusal, and him leaving that bot lane means XXS has a different lane to soak and farm in. Wouldn't really mind going up against JT, as JT is actually behind Arpango in terms of farm. So it's been a better game for XXS, and JT still has a lot of catching up to do on the Ember Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, the whole SCCC thing's completely different, by the way. I mean, he's got an Iron Talon on the control wall. I mean, he's more than happy to just sit in that for a while, but JT doesn't seem to be very happy to oblige by that. He tries to jump in on SCCC, but SCCC looks to be happy to fight, especially while Bo3's there. They had the false promise just in case the troll needed it. He, of course, does not. Now, Smoke was popped, immediately broken thanks to JT. Bit of a shape for Aster, just awkward timing. That may save IG from copying a real bad gank on one of their cores.
That it does, but Aster's set up to get a push going down mid. They've got the Travels and Schwan. He comes in, and they do start on this tier 1 mid.
Yeah, I mean, just wait out the
Oh, Kaka stole the wards though.
I mean, he did. Is he going to be able to use them? Is my question.
No, not right now, no. That is potent for Kaka. It's not control. It's probably actually not the best spell to steal. You'd really want Shackles or Hex more in this case, but if they do get close to tier 1, IG could get at least 1 tower now.
Radiant's bottom tower
See
is under attack.
if they make it happen. Kaka definitely probably shouting at his team, I got wards, let's go do something right now. And there's a smoke coming up. It's gonna be go back for their outpost. The smoke is really leading to nowhere.
They don't really have vision.
Emo gives up on it.
Yeah, they didn't have vision around any sort of offensive area to try to hunt. Only 1 ward in their jungle area, and obviously no one there, so not really gonna find anything, although I guess they could try for SCCC. He is far forward.
Radiant's bottom tower is
JT
under attack.
gonna be in trouble bot lane. There was a counter smoke from Aster, and he does remnant away. Much harder to go for the Ember if you don't have some form of initiation on Fade. He needs a blink or a force staff to be able to get in there. Meanwhile, Bo3 though being caught out on the Oracle. He can force, but he does do so. He saw XXS to come in now with Rolling Thunder but chains, and to cancel that off. XXS thinking about just committing the ultimate but doesn't really want to, and now Emo gonna rotate in. Does have sanities. And Aster definitely do not want to take this fight any longer.
Yeah, that's a surprising use of that spell from Bo3. He didn't bot throwing out Purifying Flame, so there's really nothing to reach him back up. Just kind of waste that spell. It's going to be down for more than a minute. If an opening for IG, although they're probably just going to be fine playing like this. They can clean up that tier 1 bot, but you see some pings from Aster towards the top lane, so they might consider a tier 2 trade.
Radiant's bottom tower.
We have SCCC's Diffusal coming up.
I love that
Wait.
build up. Like, after that, straight into the BKB for the troll. So that effectiveness of the OD against him, not gonna be there. This is really the key timing for the troll, just the BKB. Absolutely pertinent when you're playing against the OD.
Yeah, unlike Terror, but you can actually build BKB this quick. Ollie,
Ollie?
gonna get caught out. And should go down fairly easy, though. Purifying Flames keep him alive for a bit. Now the Soulbind out there. Be a dangerous scenario. Like, you've got Soulbind gone now, on XXS still has Rolling Thunder. So, can't stop this push, surely, but JT can with his presence. Fortune's End to fly it on Bo3. JT, he thinking, should I go in? There is a stun coming out and it does connect from Chuan. Still, he does not want to really continue this fight. And it looks like they are just going to sack the Oracle. They're just too afraid of what could be behind the side of Aster. XXS just goes for the wrong AP away. Yeah, Aster, they're happy. I think once SCCC's BKB's up is when they say, okay, now we definitely fight.
Yeah, they're just gonna back for now, play it safe. They didn't quite have too much vision beyond the one behind the tower, so they had no information in the jungle to tell them who exactly was chasing in. They'd rather play it safe. IG is actually keeping up fairly nicely in terms of farm as well. Like, it's a 1k, less than 1k advantage right now for IG. You see the farm on Fly, it is decent. Like, it's right behind our troll and just about behind Emo as well. So all fairly even considering that rough start. Oh, JT.
Shackles, they catch him out. And they're hoping for some snares and they do get the root. Just gotta pop the battle trance sometimes and just pray you get that lucky, and it generally does come out with battle trance. Big pickup.
Yeah, it's they do kind of rely on JT to play forward and play as their initiation. He's the only hero that can really jump in for IG. No one else can kind of initiate. So without that Ember Spirit around, this does buy some more time for Aster to get a little bit more off the map. They will have Serpent Wards again, so they can push in lane, drop the wards, and pull back out if they wanted to.
Akai is there in Invictus. Have protection. They did get blocked for a sec, but who they found there? It's going to be JT again.
No.
Oh, that's not a great start. And now Rolling Thunder going to catch up. Fade meanwhile finds a double kill, make it a triple kill. So Ollie died for the Serpent Wards of Fade.
Oh. I'm not sure what IG was doing. Like, we saw Kaka standing there, right? We saw him on Rubik standing beside Fade. He could have stolen the Hex. He could have stolen the Shackle. He didn't do anything, and he just let his Invis kind of fade through.
There seems to be a lot of miscommunication here for Mike. Aster are going to go ahead and take a Roshan out now. It's a big
Scanned out. Scanned out.
What do you do?
Nah, he can't. You have to have JT going first, but all he has is a blade nail.
You could have hoped for maybe a remnant skill, but yeah, it's not going to happen. Fly actually looking to fight.
JT?
They feel confident. They feel confident without Rolling Thunder, but that's up in about 3 seconds. Risky play for IG.
Oh, it really is. If it fell apart there, you'd look at giving away a lot of key farm that you just built up on your PL and kind of tossing that away. And speaking of our PL, Fly is working towards a fast ads. So he wants that Phantom Rush constantly up.
Okay, I don't mind. I respect the build, but
Doesn't strike me as enough though. Like, you're lacking in durability, you're lacking in damage. You still have Chuan as a very, very high damage output hero at this point in the game, and that's still going to stay that way until you either build a pipe on one of these heroes, and quite frankly, none of these heroes naturally build a pipe, or if you get a BKB. But with this kind of pace on Fly, neither seems to be the case, so they're gonna have to try to find a solution for Chuan. They could try to just dive him, but Baboka can kind of just buy time and save him.
well, they might have a chance now, John. That's the smoke up running straight towards Ollie, and they want a JT, but they'll settle for the Grimstroke. JT, just get out of there, sir. Do not stick around that area. Yeah, Emo still waiting to get his Aghanim Scepter. He's about 500 gold off that. IG definitely not looking to make any moves prior to that happening.
Yeah,
But this will mean they're going to lose another mid-tier 2 town.
yeah, it's really down to the strength of Aster Draft. They just can constantly push, and IG cannot defend. Like, they can pop forth, sure. It fades, and SCCC just stands there and hits.
Well, that's the thing. Once you place the supports down, you're committed. You're going for it. They do allow it to be denied. They don't care about the goal. They're already getting it. They care about the map control.
Yeah, that just makes it so much harder for IG to farm here. Like, they don't have TP points in their jungle.
You've always got the BKB as well in S-Triple, so I don't think Aster really wanted to force the fight. Fade's now got the full blink up.
Yeah, that's really big. That's Blink and Aether Lens already up for Fade. So our Shaman is really a key part of Aster's control, and IG just don't have anything coming out from their supports as well. Like, you are looking at the Blink and Kaka, but he's only at 800, 900 gold right now. So it's a long build-up, and you have nothing coming out for Ollie.
Yeah, that hanging himself on the PO is not gonna matter with Blink Hex, though. They're getting stuff up onto the troll as people see. You can't get the battle cramps off it. But Bo3, you had false promise, sir. Just maybe thought he needed to commit it that early. Commits it on himself.
Okay. Nah. Yeah, that's
He does. Yeah, he definitely does. Just
was he outside of range? Like, it could have been a range issue. It didn't look like it though.
I don't think he was. I think he had about a second. You make those mistakes, and it can be hard to determine whether you need to false promise or not. You never know. As people see, Nave said, "Look, don't worry about it. Just leave me be." Yeah,
that's fair. They do lose their tier 1 mid, and that is a massive swing for IG, bringing down the gold advantage of Aster to 1K. So IG's still definitely in here despite being behind in kills. Like, they've got the gold farm. You still have a lot on Emo. He has his Ags up. So you have the Astral Imprisonment spam coming out from him. And Fly is doing great as well. He is very close to his own Ags. You've got some major power spikes coming out now for IG. And Aster has to be a bit cautious. You can't afford to toss SCCC up in front like that. He does have the gold for the BKB though. So next time it happens, he should have a fail-safe there.
Lines out the BKB completely in. It's on the way. Going to the batter up next. With that BKB and the blink that you saw on front eight, I think it's probably about time for Aster to try and make another move. IG, he feel the same way in Scepter, in fact. JT, try and go forward and get a double damage room, but I believe it was denied off by the Oracle.
Yep. Nice little hit from Baboka to take that away. And IG and Aster just satisfied to farm a little bit more. You are kind of right though. Like, Aster should play around his key timing. Fade's blink is just so massive. You want to make use of it fast. They don't really have any objectives to play for though, except for that bot tier 1, which they honestly haven't spent too much time around that bot lane. So they should probably clear it out just to get complete control on the map. But their farming locations have been pretty diverse.
Always those bot towers that get left standing. Just kind of like a dead lane. They just don't matter that much.
Yeah. It's like it doesn't give you the best access. Like, that triangle on Dire side isn't as important as the Radiant triangle. Funny enough, that's always kind of been the case. But it's a Radiant jungle that Radiant triangle that really shines, and the Dire one just kind of gets left on the wayside.
Yeah. Really never stood a chance. Like, Radiant one's right next to Roshan.
Yeah, that's fair.
IG. Ags up now on the PL, they want to make a play. If Fade gets the Hex Shackles, that Ag's not going to matter whatsoever. So, we'll have to see. Be careful, he tries to bait him in, but now Rolling Thunder was already out, Soulbind is there as well. SCCC will pop the BKB immediately. Kaka will almost certainly die, and that'll be it. Maybe after the BKB is off, they'll go again, and yeah, they do. They got the double chains off. There's going to be the Sanities, but they got the battle threats in time. Sanity's damage. Now as we'll see, Astral can. Without that BKB, he just can't do anything. And with that, looks like his time will go around as the false promise. Probably waiting for a line back Emo. Put them to prison again. Oh.
Oh man. IG just playing that really perfectly. Aster has to be a lot more disciplined with that BKB use. It's the key thing when you're up against the OD. And Emo just finding the right calls at the right times. they got the really good soul blind as well from IG, so they stopped the Rolling Thunder from being a massive issue, and they kept SECC locked up. So a lot of things going really wrong there for Aster. They have to start the fight with Fade. Fade needs to be the one to jump in and lock in those heroes first and cop the initial counter initiations for the team, to have everyone else free to do what they want. And with that, IG, they just get to go and take a tier 2. Not very fast, but there's no defense coming out from Aster.
They really do have to ensure that Emo and Flyfly either one's down before they can do that again on the side of Aster. It's just way too dangerous, especially with Emo. Just so much valuable time wasted on that troll. So they're gonna find Kaka again on the Rubik, but not too big of a deal for this side of IG. They'll be alright with it.
You do have a couple of things coming out for Aster that could help out. Like XXS is very close to his halberd, so just about 1,000 gold away on our Pangolier, and once that's up and running, you can kind of mitigate the damage output from Emo. Granted, it's really not about the right clicks, it's just the control he has with Astral is just super annoying. Aster has to consider maybe a Linken's or even Lotus Orb, just to kind of reflect that back to Emo. Just be a bit more annoying and disruptive, but so far it has been a decently even game. Like, not the same in kills, but IG has constantly been within 1k of Aster.
Fade. They get caught out on the Shaman now. No chances yet. They just hang in the tree line now. Chuan comes in, trying to help out. They got the hits on the PO. In fact, it was KT on the Ember. In trouble right now, needs to get out of there. He does get Astral by Emo. Can he get up? Doppel. Astral will still get him down. Yeah, they got the Lightning Storm. That'll be enough. Fade. He pulled back, still trying to find more. He won't get another target, but the PL pickoff is pretty big. And they could try for a road play.
Yeah, overall it's still a pretty big win for Aster, even if that does cost them buyback. They do find a PL. You're going to be much more satisfied with it, although.
Yeah, lifted up, Silence, this is good. I should have come in here, but here we go again with the Astrals. You have to use the BKB. Still trying to move forward, but getting more Astrals to come out. Trying to find and ward them off. Triple C does pop the BKB now with the shackles there from Fade, but they just force off away. So Emo finds a double. Get on the roof, but if that BKB is over, and it looks like Emo should have full control of this troll. And I'm surprised they went in after that. I know it was a 4v5 situation, but just didn't look great.
Nah. Every time Aster faces these fights without getting the jump first, it never pans out. You need your Shaman to be the one to go in, to lock in. The big target's Emo. He has been super disruptive with his Ags buildup. You need a way of counteracting that. Like, the BKB needs to be open TCC. The issue is the charges are dropping. He's down to 8 seconds left, and these fights last for so long that you're not going to be able to find the cleanup in that time span. Like, sure, the troll doesn't get in prison, but you can't stop everyone else from being saved by that. Like, you saw Emo delay it enough on JT that JT just managed to dance around him at some point. So there has to be something here from Aster to control that OD. Maybe a piece of silence, or really just play with Fade. Have Fade start these fights for you, have him blink in on the Shadow Shaman. That's your best bet. If not, then maybe wait for, well, it is still a bit far off, but you could wait for tier 4 items like the Princess Knife. That really helps. It's just, that's not going to be up for a while.
Trying seems like just gonna utilize some, like a smoke, and just really find out this OD. Evo's been really annoying for this that stuff.
Yeah, he has.
So you thought Flash wasn't a problem, but they find the catch really easily, but now Well, Baboka being caught out of the Oracle trying to get some D wards off, and Emo was still the kill on the OD.
Yeah, these really good wards from IG have been paying off. Like, the complete control they've had in the jungle meant that Aster has not been able to get a good move forward, and ooh, SCCC.
JT, Hexter won't really be able to get range even with haste. The Roshan play. Aster almost certainly aren't going to bother trying to fight without the Oracle. And in fact, surprisingly, I think he let it go again. No, they'll go.
Yeah, they've got to. It's a free objective for them. No real vision from Aster to keep track of that. And they could try with XXS. It just feels like they're not quite in position. They are a bit too distributed and really just unaware. They don't have a scan as well to check for this.
It's gonna be decently fast for Roshan, especially with that double damage there on Firefly. I'm very, very lucky with that. Meanwhile, Baboka trying to equal, but it's gonna cost him his life again.
Discover what lies.
One trying to get back control of this triangle area, but while the Roshan's going on.
Nah, he really needs backup for these D wards. Like, they know where the warded areas are. He will constantly get punished if he doesn't have someone to help him. Just take those wards out.
One?
Oh,
Very
no, XXS.
And it's gonna be XXS.
Why?
Trying to find these wards. Well, they really want the wards, John.
They go in one by one. It's back to back. Baboka twice. You know, like in this area, and then here, and then why? Like, it's a 4K lead now for IG. They've found some pretty big kills they shouldn't be finding. And they've already got the Roche. They can clear out this tier 1 top and try to find more. Aster, they're waiting for the Abyssal to be up in SCCC, and you do have the BKB on Chuan, so you have that going. Fade is split pushing that tier 2 bot, so you can find a bit of a trade, I suppose.
Yeah. Is not gonna take too much damage. Emo is there to clean up those serpent wards. Just trying to finish off that Abyssal. Once the Abyssal could really be the game changer, then he can really just focus down that OD with Abyssal. Take him out.
Yeah, it's that is going to help massively. You still have to worry about the other tools on IG's hand, but with the Abyssal BKB, I think that basically covers all your bases there. They do manage to finally find that Obs ward as well, but IG.
AT, gonna find out. Astral gonna be there again. Tron. It up. False promise will save him. He does get the BKB off now. SCCC, he's going to look for a target here, and he does go for Ollie first, but Boka, they're going to lose his life on the Oracle now. Info is being dumped down. They got the Hex off thanks to Fade, but Firefly is jumping on top of that Charm and trying to burst him down. SCCC just in the battle trance right now, can't really pick his target. He does lift it up afterwards, and well, now it looks really bad. His Emo should just have his way with them. Nice little sanities there. Still, they're trying to fight back, but SCCC does end up losing his life. Parker stole Shackles, and now they're going to lose Tron as well. Left track. Exodus is sitting dark on the Pangolier, and it's almost going to be a full team wipe. Only person to run out of there is Fade on the Shaman, and he may not even have. GG's been called. That's enough.
Ooh. Yeah, that was a very hard game for Aster. It looked like they had some solutions for a while, but the execution definitely fell flat. Like, they couldn't get SCCC to just do what he wants in the middle of those fights. IG had the solutions. They were keeping up in farm despite falling behind